baby Rachel are watching the game back in Dallas. We've asked Dan Jiggets to step in. Danny, this Philadelphia team has been a real study in contrast. They look all world in defeating the Giants on Monday night, and then they look just awful last week against Cleveland.
Well, Vern, that's a real sign of a young team. You have a great Monday night game, and then you can't come back and concentrate the next week. But I tell you something, this team and the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys don't like each other very much, and that's evident when you talk to the players.
The Cowboys, the last time they were 2-5, I had just gotten out of college. Dan Jiggets was in the 5th grade, and as Michael Irvin, the Cowboy wide receiver, told us last night, he was just a thought.
Well, you know, when you think of Dallas, you always think about the crown jewel of the NFL. But they've had their problems this year. The team is up for sale and all the rest of those changes. But they can change things around today if they do two things. Get the ball into Herschel Walker's hands early and get Steve Pallure to put some points on the board, not just deliver numbers.
Overcast skies, 56 degrees. It's a terrific football temperature. Winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15. Humidity 58%. It was clear this morning. It had rained the last couple of days. The forecast called for clear skies, but then the clouds rolled in about an hour and a half ago. Luis Zendejas, once a Cowboy at the beginning of the year, will kick off as Dallas has won the toss. Kelvin Martin, 3 yards in, and will return it. Gets a good block right side and is out to the 29-yard line. Tackle made by Byron Evans, a return of 32 yards. And Steve Pallure knocked out on the 3rd play a week ago against the Chicago Bears. He is back in. And defensively for the Philadelphia Eagles, Reggie White, 7.5 sacks. Mike Pitts, Jerome Brown, and Clyde Simmons. That is the strength of the Eagles. The linebackers, Seth Joyner, Reichenbach, and Todd Bell. And the defensive secondary, Roynell Young, the rookie Eric Allen, Wes Hopkins, and Andre Waters. First down from the 29. Kelvin Martin starts, goes wide to the left. Newsom comes all the way over to the right side and lines up outside Ray Alexander. Now they shift again. Blitz threatened by the Eagles. That's Thornton Chandler in motion. All of that to give Herschel Walker the ball for a gain of 1.
Well, you know, the thing that the Cowboys are trying to do is get some one-on-one matchups with those linebackers and Herschel, but you've got to be a little bit more effective than that.
Offensively for the Cowboys, it's Pallure at quarterback, Herschel Walker, Timmy Newsom. Ray Alexander and Kelvin Martin start. They've had major injuries at the wide receiver spot. The offensive line, the wide bodies, Dave Wydell, and Nate Newton, Tom Rafferty, the 13-year veteran, Crawford Kerr, Kevin Gogan, who gets Reggie White today, and Thornton Chandler. 2nd and 9, Dallas. Again, a 3 wide receiver set. Motion again, 4-man rush, play fake, and the pass to Kelvin Martin. Open on a slant pattern, first down, Dallas, tackled by Wes Hopkins. A gain of 16 out to the 45.
Now, what you're trying to do if you're the Dallas Cowboys is you're trying to isolate your receivers on those defensive backs with the motion, and that's why they're using it, because they understand that this Philadelphia defense, fairly complicated. When you put that motion into the thing, it's like a wild card in the defense, throws everybody off in that secondary, and you got to stay with your guy all the way across the field.
Kelvin Martin has been a major revelation for the Cowboys this year. 3rd-round draft choice of a year ago, playing with a broken wrist. So he has a cast in his left hand. He goes wide to the left on first down 10 from the 45. Newsom, the motion man. The handoff, Walker going left, gets to the outside, gets a little bit of a shield block, and then mostly on his own, gets inside the 45, and Eric Allen made the tackle.
And you do not want your cornerbacks making tackles on Herschel Walker. That's not the best way to play defense. But again, that time the Philadelphia defense settled down. You didn't see them moving with the movement. What they said is, hey, look, let's make it simple for ourselves. That's what Dallas wants you to do. Settle down in there and don't try to play that man-to-man. Just play some zones.
That's a gain of 9, 2nd down and 1. Cowboys have been criticized for not using Walker enough early in games recently, particularly the last 2. Here's a play fake. Pallure settles for the short man, Timmy Newsom. And he's down the sidelines and out of bounds with another Cowboy first down at the 34-yard line. Wes Hopkins again with the tackle.
Timmy Newsom was a little upset. He felt he got a late shot there as he ran along the sideline. Here we get another look at it. Steve Pallure pulls out, drops back, and rolls to his right. Now he's going to find Timmy out there in the flat. He's wide open because the linebacker you saw was dropping off. Now Timmy does what he does best, gets along that sideline and gets those extra yards, squeezes him out, and that's what he was upset about. He felt that he got that late shot there on the sideline by Seth Joyner.
Impressive early drive for the Cowboys. 23 catches coming in for Newsom. First down 10 at the 34. And as much as anything, the Cowboys would love to get this crowd out of the game early. Play fake, blitz, pass left. Bobbled and then caught by Newsom. And he is inside the 30 and down at the 27. Tackle made by Andre Waters. A lot of play fakes early on first down, Stan.
Yeah, well, you know, everybody's thinking, hey, look, they're going to put the ball in Herschel's hands. So what do the Cowboys do? They come out and put it in everybody else's hands as well as Herschel. So you mix up your pass distribution as well as your run and let the defense start thinking, gee, they're not going to just go to Herschel. Who else are they going to use now in this offense? So you have to play everybody all over the field. You cannot just lock in on Herschel Walker.
Second down and 3. Opening drive of the ball game, no score. An impressive start for the Cowboys. Walker left. Terrific block from Timmy Newsom. And a first down for Dallas inside the 25 at the 23. Todd Bell, a former teammate of Dan Jiggetts with the Chicago Bears, makes the tackle.
Yeah, he calls himself the little linebacker out there, but he can't be too little when you tackle number 34. He's a load and a half to bring down at about 225 pounds. But Todd Bell is about 225, and he played safety at that weight. Now, Buddy Ryan brought him in and said, hey, look, can you play linebacker for me? He says, sure, no problem. That means I can gain 10 more pounds, right?
He does play on the passing downs primarily, and then Dwayne Giles will come in for Bell on short yardage situations. First down, Dallas. Cosby is in the tight end. Doug bothered by an Achilles tendon. Now the Cowboys shifting again. Sent Alexander wide to the right. 5 seconds on the 45-second clock left. Timeout. They could not beat the clock with all that motion and the play late getting in.
Well, Vern, that's something you notice if you look at the Cowboys offense, that they do not give themselves a lot of time when they come up to the line of scrimmage in order to do the motion that they like to do. But we'll have more about that when we come back in a moment.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under sunny skies above. Don't fence me in.
Now UPS delivers to every country in Western Europe, the Pacific Rim, Down Under, and Canada. And because we're so efficient, we can deliver your international parcels and documents for fewer francs, yen, or drachmas than other companies charge.
Don't fence me in.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Today's Duracell batteries are built to last up to 30% longer than the ones we made a few years back. Guaranteeing a long, happy life. Today's Duracell lasts 30% longer.
Regardless of what some people think, all spark plugs aren't alike. These AC copper core plugs match my car's specs for up to 30,000 miles of high revving firepower.
AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
When it comes to making a serious decision, my brother Tom is a lot smarter than he appears to be. Like most thinking Americans, Tom is looking for a contemporary, innovative leader. A leader with quality he can believe in. A leader he can trust. Now, he has looked at a lot of television, listened to claims from all sides. And after careful consideration, Tom has made the smart choice. And that choice is Magnavox. The sign.
Magnavox. Smart choice. Very smart.
This has been a most impressive Dallas Cowboy drive to open the ball game. They have a first down and 10 at the 22. The Eagles have had problems in the first quarter of the last 5 games. They've been outscored 46-0. Philadelphia got 21 in the first quarter against Tampa, 14 in the first quarter of the second game against Cincinnati, and they have not crossed the goal line in the first quarter since then. Dallas has had problems scoring in any quarter all year, averaging 16 points a game. Blitz is threatened on first down and 10. Double tight end set. Martin in motion, play fake, and flags before the snap. Now this is not. Now there's the first little altercation that's broken out.
Well, you know, Kevin Gogan took a little grief off of Reggie White last year, and he said he's been in the league now for a year, and he's not ready to take it anymore. And now here we see Reggie White moving inside right over Gogan, and he gets him right up in the chest, tries to push off a little bit there, and now you see Kevin tying up on him pretty good. Oh, okay, Kevin's getting him back for last year, huh?
That's against the Cowboys. In the game that caused so much controversy, the first game after the strike last year, Kevin Gogan got his first start for the Cowboys. He was up against Reggie White. On the first play of that game, according to Gogan, White came across and put both hands with fingers extended inside his face mask and said, "Welcome to the league."
Thought he was an optometrist, huh?
First and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. That'll be a fascinating matchup throughout the afternoon. Split backs behind Steve Pallor. A two-step drop, goes left side, man open, caught. They picked up 5. Eric Allen makes the catch. Or the tackle on Ray Alexander.
Now, you know, the problem, though, with that penalty that Kevin just got is the fact that when you're down in that plus territory, you're down near that 20-yard line, you don't want penalties like that pushing you back. Now they gain 5 yards on the play, but now it's 2nd down and 10. And that's when you take young tackles and you say, hey, look, just settle down. That stuff doesn't help us at all up there.
Gogan replaced Phil Paz Derrick, who decided to retire after the strike. Gogan was also one of those who had to sit out a 30-day suspension earlier this year because of violation of the drug abuse policy. Back in as a starter, and he's one of the wide bodies, 300-pounders up there. 2nd and 10, Dallas. No score. Kelvin Martin starts in motion. Play fake. Flag on the far side of the field before the snap.
That was Dave Waddell who pushed off just a little early at the left tackle position.
Ball start. Offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Dave Waddell, the opposite tackle. And that has been a problem spot for the Cowboys. Mark Tuanay, who was the starter, is out for the season, knee surgery. Darrell Smith, who started the replacement games at that spot a year ago, has 2 broken ribs. Waddell is a 4th-round draft choice of Boston College.
You know, the thing about him, though, he's a tough kid, you know, and Tom Landry said in the newspaper articles that he didn't expect him to play as well as he has coming in as a rookie. But the guy's been playing pretty well. I saw him last week against Richard Dent, and he did pretty good against him.
2nd and 15. Again, no score, 11:28 to go, first quarter. Pallor, man wide open, Ray Alexander. He's down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Mike Reichenbach makes the tackle, and Wes Hopkins was in the area. Hopkins, a wonderful story, out with major knee surgery in September of '86. He was out for 2 full years before he was able to rehabilitate himself and come back and start this year.
Wes Hopkins is one of those guys that dedicates himself to playing football as well as taking care of the rest of his life. And I think that when you see players do that and come back after a 2-year absence, you know that that's the kind of person they have to be, because it just doesn't happen naturally.
Cowboys 45% on 3rd downs. They've got a 3rd down and 6 right now. Reggie White lined up in the center over Tom Rafferty. He'll be there quite often. Blitz is coming. Pallor reads it, and he's got the ball delivered to Alexander. Still fighting for the end zone. Touchdown, Dallas. They came in waves at Steve Pallor. And this man, who has been so maligned for his problems inside the 20, found Alexander as the hot receiver.
Now, the key, though, is Steve Pallor sees the pressure coming up front. He just coolly sets up and fires it to Alexander downfield. Now, watch Ray Alexander. This is really presence of mind, taking that ball, taking it back into the end zone. Desire. You want to score, so you take it in, even regardless of who's on you.
Terry Hogue is the man who missed the tackle. Now Roger Ruzek for the extra point. Ruzek, from a field goal perspective, has been in a horrible slump. Pallor will hold, low snap. Kick is up. It's good. The Cowboys with an impressive start. They go 71 yards, overcome a couple of penalties, and get the touchdown to Alexander.
There's a reason why, wherever he goes, Spud McKenzie has so much fun. He's always in control. Spud knows it's cool to live by one simple rule. Be a good sport. Know when to say when.
A reminder from Anheuser-Busch.
You wouldn't believe the stuff my dad had to do to get his hands on his dream machine. You name it, he'd do it. Here's my dream machine, the new Cutlass Supreme. And all I had to do to get one was go to my old dealer.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile.
Ignition.
This is the new generation. Wow!
Buy a new '89 Cutlass Supreme by November 30th and get $500 cash back.
What's so special about Wendy's new Bacon Swiss Burger? Bacon, bacon, and more bacon. It's the only Bacon Swiss Burger with 3 strips of bacon. So come in now and grab one while they're hot.
Everyone knows Dristan nasal spray starts to work fast. But just how fast?
Faster than Dolly can pick up a $5 tip.
Faster than a politician can shake hands.
Now, Dristan nasal spray has a new spray pump. Nothing works faster or is more effective than Dristan to relieve nasal congestion, even sinus pressure. So, if you want relief...
Faster than a frog on a hot rock.
Try Dristan nasal spray. It's faster than...
Ray Alexander's third touchdown catch of 1988 gives the Cowboys a 7-0 lead, 10:25 to go first quarter. And a very impressive drive of 9 plays, 4 minutes and 35 seconds. And they overcame 2 penalties en route.
And the key, too, is that they got the ball in a lot of people's hands, but still they got it to Herschel in the effective mode of running outside. And that's what they really wanted to do. And then they featured the receivers down later on.
Roger Ruzek will kick off. Sean Beals is the deep man. He's a rookie out of Idaho State. Ruzek involved in a bitter contract dispute with the Cowboys and held out of camp. And at the start of the season, Luis Zendejas, who is now the Eagle kicker, was kicking for the Cowboys. Then a decision made at the after the second week to keep Ruzek, let Zendejas go. And in the wonderful, wacky world of field goal kickers, there they are in the same field again.
And Ruzek's 4-10, and
Zendejas has hit 5 in a row. Yes, and it has made the newspapers in Dallas. It has not gone unnoticed. Here's Ruzek's kick, short one. Squib kick, Konechny drops it, picks it up. Mark Konechny has it, and he gets it back as far as the 20-yard line. One of the fascinating aspects of the NFL. There's Mark Konechny, who was back with Sean Beals. What are the odds of a kid from Idaho State joining a kid from Alma College on the field of Veterans Field? Here's Randall Cunningham, sacked 9 times a week ago, but brilliant in the Monday night win over the Giants. And against him, the Cowboys will deploy Ed Too-Tall Jones, Kevin Brooks, a hobbled Danny Noonan, Jeffcoat, Ron Burton, Lockhart, and Cobb, the former Eagle. And the secondary has Everson Walls, Williams, Michael Downs, and Bill Bates. 1st and 10 from the 20. Chris Carter starts in motion, and Cunningham will throw on 1st down. Left side, Greg Garrity has it. Robert Williams with the tackle. They immediately attack the left cornerback spot. That's been a weak spot for the Cowboys. There's Garrity. He's joined in the offensive set by Randall Cunningham, Keith Byers, and Anthony Toney, along with Chris Carter. Michael Quick, of course, on injured reserve. Up front, Matt Darwin, David Alexander, Dave Remington, Singletary, who might give way to recently signed Ron Solt today, Ron Heller at right tackle, and the rookie sensation Keith Jackson out of Oklahoma. 1st and 10, Philadelphia. Cunningham has been sacked 34 times this year, tops in the league. Draw play. They give it to Anthony Toney, and that didn't fool anybody. No gain. Jim Jeffcoat with the tackle.
And Keith Jackson came over in motion and gave a real weak stock block there at the point of attack. He's a great receiver, but I think, you think a guy coming out of Oklahoma, he knows how to throw a block or two, but he really didn't get up and pop the defender like you'd like to see.
Elsewhere around the league, you see other scores. Jimmy Giles comes in as a second tight end now, the much-traveled veteran, having played with Houston, Tampa Bay, Detroit, and now Philadelphia. 2 wide receivers set to the left side on 2nd and 11. Another draw play. Right side, Keith Byers is dropped. Kevin Brooks this time, who had a terrific game last week against Chicago.
Well, you know what they were trying to do is run a little fake bootleg there. Now, what they're setting up is Randall Cunningham rolling out, faking that bootleg. You keep faking it, and sooner or later you're going to come out there, and he's going to actually have the ball and throw downfield. That time, Keith Byers ran into a little traffic over on his offensive right side.
3rd and 11, Byers is out. Ron Johnson just signed. After Mike Quick went down, comes into the lineup. 3 wide receiver set. And Cunningham, no shotgun on 3rd and 11. Audible. Cowboys threaten the blitz. Williams backs off the dog, and Cunningham's back, pumps once and goes deep. Should have been intercepted. Bill Bates had it right in his mitts. Right in his mitts.
Billy found himself playing center field on his own, and he saw the ball, and all he saw was green in front of him, and he just simply dropped it. He took his eye off it right at the last second. Watch him look upfield, and now he's going to look downfield, and he's going to say, hey, look, I can make it to the end zone, and that's when that thing slips out of his hands. The other thing to remember, too, is that the field is a little damp, and what it does is it makes that ball really slick, and when something happens like that, where it goes over your shoulder pad, it'll pop out on you.
Calvin Martin, who's averaging 9.4 yards per return, to return John Pelchik's kick. That's way up in the air. And Martin slipped, has to let it go. And it's going to be down at the 1-yard line. Touchback. His feet were in the end zone. A mental error by the Eagles. Watch what happened to Calvin Martin. Well, first take a look in the end zone.
Now what happens here is that as a defender, when you're running down, you have to stop the ball with your feet inside the field of play and not in the end zone. And there you see the defender's feet are inside the end zone, and as a result, it's a touchback.
That was Scott Curtis. The Cowboys get the ball at the 20-yard line. Now they're checking the replay.
You know what moms are like. Bring home a new guy, they put their foot down. Come home a little late, they put their foot down. Well, my mom's no different. I get this great new Oldsmobile Cutlass Calais with a quad-4 engine. And what does she do? You got it.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile.
I put my foot down. Uh-oh.
This is a new generation of old.
Buy a new 89 Cutlass Calais by November 30th and get $500 cash back.
This is my boy. Don't ask me who wound him up. In his favorite outfit, in his favorite room. He was 13 months old when his dad died. But because we thought about those things, I've been able to keep the house. That was a gift Dan gave me. That and this kid who looks just like him.
Nationwide is on your side.
Some people take chances on car maintenance, but I don't. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Do you know why Spuds McKenzie has so much fun at parties? Because he's always in control. Spuds knows it's cool to live by one simple rule. Know when to say when.
A reminder from Anheuser-Busch.
A perennial beast of the East, Penn State takes on the newfound power of Major Harris and 6th-ranked West Virginia next Saturday on CBS Sports.
That play was reviewed by the replay official, Jack Fetty. He found Scott Curtis to be in the end zone, so it is a touchback, Dallas. The longest punt of John Pelchik's career, 70 yards.
Well, you know, though, if you're going down to cover that punt, you're Scott Curtis. If you see the official between you and the ball, the official is a part of the field. So if he's blocking you from the ball, you simply run over him and go to the football. That's a great chance to get an official, too.
Ball does come out to the 22nd Dallas possession. 7:45 to go first quarter. Pallure, right side, Kelvin Martin. They're throwing much more on first down than they have been early in the year.
Well, you know, the thing that Tom Landry is always real big on is changing trends. He doesn't want to establish anything where people can get a lock on him. So now he's starting to go to guys like Kelvin Martin, Ray Alexander, getting the ball around in a lot of people's hands. So everybody can't say, as we said earlier, they're just going to use Herschel right, Herschel left, Herschel on the pass. That's not going to be the case today with the Cowboys. But the key is they will go to him when they need a first down.
They've got a second down and short right now. Walker thus far with 3 carries for 15 yards. Hasn't caught a pass yet. Second and short at the 30. Just shy of the 30. Officially, it's a 29. Now, Pallure calmly motions Newsom over. They've got 4 seconds left, and they have to use their second timeout because they can't beat the 45-second clock.
Well, the Cowboys always talked about how much motion they wanted to use and how they wanted to confuse the Philadelphia defense. Now, the problem that you run into, though, is you drain that clock because not only does it take you a year and a day to get the play in from the sideline, but then when you do all of your motion, and if you ever have to try to audible off because of a blitz, you're really in trouble. And now they've burned 2 timeouts because of that.
Much made this week about the rivalry, the fact that Buddy Ryan did fake the touchdown the knee down last year and then have Randall Cunningham throw it into the end zone. Ryan said, hey, it was revenge. What goes around comes around. Well, you know, a lot of speculation, Dan, about how much effect that would have once the game started. What do you think?
I think that all drains off. That's nice pre-game stuff, but once you get into the game, you got to concentrate on your job. And you can't be thinking about, gee, you remember that knee down last year? If you do that, you'll end up going home sad again. So I think what the Cowboys really have to do is settle down and get into their game.
It was interesting, the contrast, however. There's America's has been one of the signs here. you hear a lot about locker room. Of course, well, there was a billboard in the Philadelphia locker room with 14 articles, many of which had been printed in Dallas. In the Dallas locker room, at least as of Thursday, the only thing on the bulletin board was a ticket request list for this game. And Tom Rafferty had asked for 40 tickets. Second down and short. Dallas leads it 7-0. Here's Herschel Walker searching right side. Another great block from Newsome. Boy, Timmy Newsome really leveled the linebacker.
Well, Timmy Newsome is kind of an unselfish player, but you know what happens sometimes along that defensive line? Things change a little bit. You get some good blocking up front, and then Reggie White is one of those guys that got blocked a little bit. Now, he likes to move around. Here we got him on the isolation, and Kevin Gogan gets some help from the tight end Chandler. They're double-teaming him, and they got him up in the face and everything else. But, hey, you know, occasionally you're on the offensive line, your hands slip up on the pads a little bit.
Now, you talking from experience?
Absolutely.
Strictly accidental, right?
That's right. Never meant to do it, Coach.
Never saw a Harvard man with a straight arm. First and 10, Dallas, 7-0, they lead. Herschel goes left. Gets another block from Newsome on Clyde Simmons. And then there is the price you pay as a defensive back trying to make the tackle. Did you see Wes Hopkins bounce off him?
Yeah, that's the thing that Herschel does. He'll punish you when you try to tackle him, particularly if it's up top. He's going to punish you if you're the tackler. Now, watch here as Wes Hopkins, number 48, comes into the screen. He hits Herschel high, and he takes the beating, not Herschel. Herschel goes over. He can get a glass of Gatorade now.
What's the key, though, Dan? Tackle him down low?
That's the key. You got to go down and maybe at his shin, not necessarily at his ankles because he has great balance. But you hit the shins, that's when he's going to go down. And don't hit those knees because that'll knock you out.
Second down and 3. 6:47 to go. First quarter. Dallas up 7-0. Ball at the 40. Play fake. Pallure. Good protection. Now he'll run. And he's close for the first down. Visions of a week ago with Mike Singletary dancing through a lot of folks' heads.
Yeah, but Steve took a look at the clock and said, gee, I'm past 90 seconds. It's okay to go. He didn't want to look like Michael Spinks again and go out in 91 seconds. But that play, you saw what he did, though. He rolled and protected himself and covered himself up as soon as he hit the turf. Young quarterbacks get smart after they get stuck a couple of times. Coaches know that, hey, the guy's going to have to get hit a couple of times, and then he starts to realize that we're telling him the truth. Get down to the ground and protect yourself.
These may be the best two running quarterbacks in the NFL on the same field today, Cunningham and Pallure. Double tight end set. It's third and about a foot. Cosby, Folsom, they got 3 tight ends in now. Steve Folsom has joined them. Cosby is the man in motion. Herschel Walker, and he did not get it. Doug Bartlett made the tackle. There is a flag down. The Cowboys are reacting as if it's against the Eagles.
Well, what happens a lot of times in the short yardage plays is that down along that defensive line, they'll move over into the neutral zone.
Over the use of the hands. Defense. Number 96. Hands to the face. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Isn't that something? They get Clyde Simmons. They didn't see Kevin Gogan.
Well, you know, that happens a couple of times if you're starting to make a little noise on defense. See, the key is if you're going to do something like that, don't talk. Just do it. It's like Clint Eastwood said in that movie. Don't, you know, if you're going to shoot, don't talk. And that's what happens there. Now, what happens, though, is the next play out, the offense will try to get him back very secretly. That's the way offensive linemen work. They kind of just want to, you know, work at you, and then they'll get you back.
First and 10, all kinds of shifting by the Cowboys. Alexander goes wide left. Newsome and Kelvin Martin are wide to the right. Hand off on the draw. Walker nailed Reggie White. Flag down in the defensive backfield, and it might be against the Eagles.
And Ray Alexander is all in. I believe that's Wes Hopkins' face talking a little bit of that trash that, you know, it's going to get started here again now.
Dick Hantak is the referee today. There is Reggie White. I think almost by unanimous consent, the best defensive lineman in the league right now.
Yeah, he's playing as well as anybody I've ever seen play the position of defensive end and defensive tackle.
Now, they've not moved the ball from where Walker was stopped. Andre Waters arguing his case.
Personal foul. Defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Waters has a reputation, whether deserved or not, of being a player who's right on the edge.
Yeah, but you know what? Buddy Ryan likes a tough guy, but he likes a smart guy in the secondary. Now, what he did by getting caught is not smart. Now, if you can do what you've got to do without getting caught, then he'll live with that. But when you get that 15-yarder or the 10-yarder, whatever it might be, he does not appreciate that because suddenly you're moving from around the 50-yard line down to the 42, and that's a big difference when you move into the positive area of the field.
And especially after the outstanding play by Reggie White that had stopped Walker for the loss. And instead, it's a first down 10, Dallas, 5:18 to go. This first quarter has been dominated by the Cowboys. 3 plays and a punt for the Eagles. Play fake for Pelor. Screen pass. Left side, Herschel Walker. Now he's got some room. And a first down inside the 30 at the 28. Eric Allen had to make the tackle.
And you saw where Eric Allen hit Herschel Walker down on those shins because that's the only place where he's vulnerable because he's human down there. I think the rest of him is made by a computer. This guy, you know, I talked about him last week, and I said the kind of human being he is, you really like him. He's a guy that he said he's programmed to win, and that's something that you like to hear out of an individual. The guy doesn't allow, you know, the other normal hurdles in life to really stop him. That's the kind of person he is. He says, hey, look, I can accomplish whatever I want to if I believe I can do it.
See the other scores rolling by. Some surprises early on. Our score 7-0 Dallas, an 18-yard touchdown toss. Pelor to Alexander. And for the 3rd time in the first quarter, the Cowboys have to use a timeout. They are zip. They're out of timeouts for the rest of the half.
Only 3 seconds remained on the 30-second clock. Now, what Steve Pelor is doing is he's coming up, and Philadelphia is shifting that defense around. He wants to make his call, and then he says, gee, maybe I can audible here. But by the time he looks up and sees that 30-second clock, hey, it's too late. The only thing you can do is call a timeout.
That's Al Levan looking on with Tom Landry as Pelor pleads his case and tries to tell him what's wrong.
We're taking the new road, we're taking the olds. Mama and me were traveling in style, mile after country mile. This is the new generation of olds.
Take a new look at Cutlass Sierra.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile.
It's my mama's.
This is the new generation of olds.
Buy a new '89 Cutlass Sierra by November 30th and get $500 cash back.
Blue Diamond almond growers know their almonds are always a main attraction. In fact, folks love the taste so much, they munch them just about anywhere. Blue Diamond almonds, anytime, anywhere.
Aren't you guys the Blue Diamond almond growers?
That's right.
Thanks.
And a week, that's all we ask.
Seems fair to me.
It's here, it's new, and it may change your view of the automotive world. It's GMAC's new way to help you into a lot of car or truck without tying up a lot of your money, and to help you break free with low monthly payments. Introducing Smart Lease by GMAC. Look into it today at your GM dealers. Smart Lease by GMAC. Automotive leasing will never look the same.
.504 remaining in the first quarter of play. The Cowboys dominating but leading by only 7. And they have used their 3rd timeout. That last time, Dan, it appeared that it was strictly one of the offensive players going the wrong way.
Well, what can happen sometimes is the offense is so confusing when you hear all of those calls made. You know, sometimes you go to the wrong side. And that time, Kelvin Martin went to the wrong side of the formation. So Steve Pelor signaling him to go back over the other side, drain the clock on him.
1st and 10. Martin starts in motion, followed by Eric Allen. Pelor back, goes deep. That's simply a bad throw.
That was a wounded duck.
And now another fight has broken out. Well, any thoughts that the hostility between these two teams might have evaporated with a kickoff has been negated.
Well, you know what happens sometimes is the game is somebody gets it started again. Somebody says something on the field. Sometimes we're not privy to all of those little conversations, and that's what starts the atrocities. And again, today it's been very evident.
This time it was Jerome Brown and Crawford Kerr who got into it. There's Brown, number 99.
Now, Buddy Ryan set Jerome Brown down a couple of weeks ago because of fighting on the field. He said, hey, look, you're supposed to be playing out there, not fighting. You can't help me if you're kicked out of a game. Now he's back at it again.
Here's Dick Hantak, who's going to straighten this out for us. This may be a case of offsetting fouls. Let's see. Ryan's going to, the Eagles are going to call timeout.
Defense. Unnecessary roughness. Offense. Penalties are all set.
It was Brown of the Eagles. Crawford Kerr.
Their first timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
And this is a 40-second timeout as the explanation is being given to the Cowboy bench.
Well, you know, I don't really see where there's any explanation needed. Both guys are out there going at it, and they just really called it a play on both houses and said, okay, guys, reset it and cut this stuff out. Now, there you see them right down at the bottom of your screen. They got some face masks going. Now, it's obvious that Jerome Brown's face mask had been pulled off already because his helmet had been pulled off by Crawford Kerr. They're really going at it down there. They don't like each other too much, but this is what's going to make an interesting matchup up front. So if you want to see what mano a mano is all about, we'll keep an eye on that pit today.
Herschel Walker's got a smile. First down and 10, and we're back to play. That is the first Eagle timeout.
Herschel says all they have to do is run.
Now the crowd gets back into it. This all started in Buddy Ryan and the Eagles' sense when Tom Landry used Dorsett, Ed Jones, Randy White, a couple of others who crossed the picket line in the first game a year ago. The Cowboys won that 41-22. Ryan had no veterans in the lineup. And then, of course, Ryan went for the touchdown with 2 seconds left and admitted that he was trying to run up the score on Tom Landry. Interesting, they went for a fake punt against Tampa Bay earlier this year, and he was asked if he was trying to run up the score. Ryan said, I only do that against Landry. Second down and 10 after the incomplete pass and the 2 flags. Ballure with time. Left side, double coverage. Caught. Out of bounds at the 1-yard line, Ray Alexander, the former Canadian League All-Star. A 26-yard gain from Ballure.
Now, the thing that Ray Alexander does here on the left side of your screen is watch him slip down in between 2 defenders, and this ball is perfectly thrown by Ballure. Now, watch the ball slip right down in between 2 defenders, and Ray Alexander, concentration on the play, concentrates on the ball rather than the defender, and he makes the play and almost gets in for the touch.
Cowboys first and goal. An interesting stat. Herschel Walker has rushed for 665 yards. He has 1 rushing touchdown this year. They've not used him much inside the 10. They don't this time either. Newsome touchdown. Flag is down. And it's back at the 5-yard line.
Now you see Nate Newton is down there trying to do a dance, but the officials are trying to get the ball away from him. So don't celebrate yet, big guy.
Illegal use of the hands on the defense. Hands to the face. 5-yard penalty. The penalty is declined. It is a touchdown.
That hands to the face penalty seems to be the one of choice today. Seems like everybody is trying to check and see if everybody else had a shave today or something. But you know what? That can be a dangerous thing, though. In all seriousness, when you take that face mask and jam it up, because you can jam a guy's neck back, and that's when it's not funny. When something serious happens to someone and they get injured.
The Cowboys come in 2-5. Roger Ruzek trying to give them a 14-0 lead. They have averaged just under 17 points per game, and they're on a verge of 14 in their first 2 possessions in Veterans Stadium. That's a 71-yard drive capped by an 80-yard drive. 18 plays for the Cowboy offense thus far. Only 4 for Philadelphia. Well, we've got an interesting game here, and next week, great doubleheader action for you on CBS. Many of you will see Chicago against New England. Next week, the Cowboys are at home against Phoenix, an important Western Division encounter between the Rams and New Orleans. Others will see Atlanta here in Philadelphia, while others of you watch Green Bay against Buffalo. And then the second half of the doubleheader, most of you will watch Minnesota out in Candlestick against the San Francisco 49ers, while others will watch the Giants against Detroit. That's a 4 o'clock start. It all begins with the NFL Today, live at 12:30 Eastern Time. See the fella in the back? That's Mike Quick.
And the guy down in front is another offensive tackle, Stan Walters. I like to mention those offensive linemen. They'll give them a little play. They need it.
Mike is doing analysis on the Philadelphia radio broadcast. The young fella in the middle is Merrill Reese, the play-by-play man, and then Stan Walters to the left. Mike hasn't earned the front row seat yet. Got the Bob Uecker seat in the broadcast booth. It's been an all-Cowboy first quarter. 4:49 to go. 14-0. Sean Beals to return the kick. And connecting is the short man at 15. at the 5. Bounces off a tackle, bounces off another. Here's another flag. And it comes flying at the 25-yard line. Tackle is made by Robert Williams, and it's going to be against Philadelphia.
You know, Buddy Ryan was telling us the other day that they're one of the least penalized teams in the league, and everyone says they're a bunch of thugs and all of that. Well, they certainly have been collecting penalties today. I know they haven't.
On the return, number 83, penalized half the distance.
I know they haven't been collecting them in the past, but they certainly have been today, and it's really been affecting them both offensively and defensively, and that's something that you know Ryan is going to say, hey, look, that's got to stop. Absolutely.
That cost him field position back inside the 15. The penalty was on Jimmy Giles. Randall Cunningham, brilliant in the win over New York, sacked 9 times last week. This Philadelphia offense, which twice this year has been over 400 yards, was held to 119 against the Browns.
And the way you slip into that kind of a groove is by not having your offense on the field, much like has happened to them today. That offense of the Philadelphia Eagles really has not been on the field very much. They can't get things clicking if they're sitting on the bench.
Cincinnati rolling over Houston, and Atlanta with an early lead over New York. First down 10. Eagles have 1 first down thus far. That's Keith Jackson in motion. Cunningham looks left. He's in trouble, in the grasp, and that'll be the first sack of the day. And Cunningham, I think, with some justification, is going to argue about the in the grasp rule because Dan, it takes away the athletic ability of the quarterback.
That was a terrible call because Jim Jeffcoat came by and just barely brushed him, and then Danny Noonan came in. But hey, look. Now watch the play. Now first, 77, Jeffcoat gets in and he beats his man on the inside. Noonan grabs him, slips off. Now with a great athlete back there, quarterback, you got to allow him to do his thing. You cannot restrict the game down to the point where it is no longer interesting to watch because you're trying to protect one player.
The key words, according to the rules, are grasp and control. And I would argue that Danny Noonan did not have control. He may have had grasp. Second down and 18. Myers lined up wide to the right. They throw it out to Keith Jackson, and Ron Burton makes the tackle on the rookie tight end out of Oklahoma. There's Burton, who's had a troubled season this year. He was a splash last year as a free agent, but has had some problems in the second season.
And he's got Mike Hegman back now on the field to help him out a little bit. Hegman's the veteran back there. They call him the flex master, and he understands that flex defense. And I'm sure he's taking Ron Burton under his wing and saying, hey, look, this is how you do this thing, and settling the guy down so he doesn't make those rookie and first and second year mistakes.
Cowboys go into the prevent defense. Third down, 3 wide receiver set, 3rd and 12. 14-0. Dallas leads it. Cunningham looks left. Ed Jones has him. Cunningham there. He's out of the grasp. Pumps once and then gets nailed. That will count as a sack. Down at the 10-yard line. Kevin Brooks got up with him. But you saw an example of the kind of thing that Cunningham is capable of.
Now, the one thing that happened, though, is Jim Jeffcoat read the screenplay all the way. He didn't get cut by the tackle, so what he does is he gets up and he's in Randall's face. Randall can't unload the football, so now he starts scrambling, and he's in big trouble. He just looks for an out.
John Pelchik for the second time, a career long of 70 yards the first time out. Kelvin Martin waits near midfield. Another fine punt by Pelchik. This time Martin will grab it at the 39. Down at the 44. And another one breaks out. This time Everett Gay and David Little. That's about the 7th flag we've had in the first quarter. And it was after Martin had been down. 50-yard punt, 5 on the return.
You know, the thing that the Dallas guys are doing is playing it very smart. They're walking away from the fight. They'll start a little something, then get away real quick. And the official sees that shot that's thrown on the second turn. And what he's doing is he's catching the Philadelphia Eagles in most of the action.
Well, from the way the Cowboys were reacting, this is going to be against David Little, number 89.
And see, they're kind of joking about it, say, oh, yeah, you got him again.
Kelvin Edwards giving a little high five to Everett Gay. Here's Dick Antak.
Personal foul. Number 89 on the white team. Grabbing and twisting the face mask. 15-yard penalty. First down.
See, if you're going to try to get back at somebody, you got to do it in a clean way. I mean, if you get a good clean shot on a guy, you take the clean shot. But when you start going to that face mask, going to the neck, all of that stuff, that doesn't make any sense because the officials can see it, number one. I mean, if you're going to try to get a shot on somebody, you just work in there and wait until the opportunity presents itself during the game. And then, you know, that's what football's all about, hitting people, but not doing stuff like grabbing face masks.
And again, the Cowboys get the ball with the field position at the 42. They've had to drive 71 and 80 yards for their 2 touchdowns. It's a 14-0 game that has been dominated by Dallas. First down 10. Newsom starts in motion. Herschel Walker goes left, searches, has some room. Foot race with Jerome Brown. And Wes Hopkins and Brown catch up with him. Herschel Walker's previous longest run this year had been 26 yards. That is a 29-yard effort for Walker.
And the one thing that he got was a great block out of Crawford Kerr at the point of attack. He pulled out and just made a nice block here on the linebacker. Now watch Kerr, 68 from the backside. Gogan gets out and gets a backside block as well, but Kerr, 68 right there. Key block. Now Herschel sprung into the secondary, and he does the rest because it's very difficult to catch a guy who's a world-class sprinter, particularly when he's got a little lead on you. But Jerome Brown doesn't do a bad job of chasing him down on the sideline.
That block by Kerr on Andre Waters. This one doesn't work. And the second man in puts a hat on it.
And what you saw Todd Bell, number 52, doing was trying to strip the ball out of there. That's something that Buddy Ryan taught him from the first day he came to the Chicago Bears, is go after that ball and get the turnover. And here's an isolation of Herschel. He's trying to head off that left side, and now there's nowhere to go up there. Todd Bell meets him at the point of attack, wrestles him down. Now watch Todd reach in and try to get him down to the ground. He didn't try to reach in for that ball. He's just wrestling him down, it looked like a steer wrestling contest out there.
That's a loss. Second down and 12. Cowboys lead 14-0. Rushing yards is 52 to -2. Philadelphia defense was confused at the snap. Diving catch made by Herschel Walker inside the 10 at the 9.
And he played that one smart as well. He knew that he could roll it towards the end zone without even getting up. And until he's touched and he's down, he's still making positive yardage. And here we see it on the replay. Pelluer finds Herschel right over the middle there. Now he makes a nice diving catch, and now watch him just keep rolling towards the end zone, understanding that until he's touched, he's live. You try to get up in that situation, though, that's when they find your head rolling over towards the sideline, so he played it very smart.
Cowboys have had problems inside the 10 this year. This will be the 25th play they have run inside the 10. They have not used Walker as much as you think they should, perhaps. 52% of the time, either as a receiver or a running back. This is a 3-wide receiver set on 3rd and 6. Pelluer back, rolls out, Timmy Newsom. At the 10, far short of the first down. Now call on Roger Ruzek. Mike Pitts made the tackle.
Well, when Herschel ran to the corner of the end zone, he had a lot of help over there with him in the names of a couple of those defensive backs from the Eagles. They were not going to let him get out in that end zone by himself. So then Steve Pelluer just said, hey, look, I'll dump it off to Timmy Newsom and allow him to try to get some yardage on the play. But Herschel was double and triple teamed down there in the end zone.
That'll bring on Roger Ruzek, who has been in a prolonged slump since signing a new contract. He's 4 of 10 for the year. Now, earlier this week, he hit 24 of 25 in practice on Thursday. And the one miss was from 51 yards out. This will be a 27-yard field goal effort. It's good. And the Dallas Cowboys have equaled their per-game scoring average in the first 14.5 minutes of this ball game. They're up 17-0 on drives of 71, 80, and 42 yards.
Well, you think back to how they got there, too. Penalties on the part of the Eagles. Penalties that don't help you in terms of, grabbing face masks and all that. Keep going back to that point because it changes field position and it also changes what you have to do offensively. You no longer have to struggle to get the first down because it's given to you as a result of that penalty. Now, what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on your defense because you're suddenly backed up against the wall, even if you start out with good field position. And then you get down by 17 points and your offense hasn't even been on the field to break a sweat, really. And now you're down 17 points.
Buddy Ryan
with Jeff Fisher, who played defensive back for him with the Chicago Bears out of USC. When he first came into the Bears, we nicknamed him Guppy because he was a little fish.
Interesting what a lot of speculation about the locker room orations this week. Kevin Gogan told us last night that Tom Landry told the team on Friday, well, if we win, I might even shake Buddy Ryan's hand.
I bet.
I can't see it either. Roger Ruzek will kick off. Beals is back, connecting the short man, and the ball falls off the tee.
You know, it always makes me kind of smile to see these kickers. You know, they wear one white shoe and one black shoe. Well, the reason why is one's a soccer shoe and the other one's a natural turf shoe. But, you know, you always say, hey, look, why can't you get two white shoes? They said that when you change it to the white shoe, it changes the way that the shoe feels on the ball. I don't believe that.
I was going to ask you. Sean Beals at the 5. Right side. Good return by Sean Beals, the rookie from Idaho State, all the way out to the 30-yard line. That'll do it from Veterans Stadium for quarter number 1. The Cowboys on a roll, 17-zip.
The motion picture event that names history's most gruesome killer.
Somebody must know something.
Jack the Ripper, the gripping conclusion tonight.
For induction into the National Football League Hall of Fame, Mike Ditka.
This is it, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. To be selected is the greatest honor of my life. To join men like George Halas. And because of him, I started my career as a Chicago Bear. And I'm with the Bears again. And the game I loved as a player is still in my blood as a coach. The will to win, the fire competition. They're all part of the stories that are here for you at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And when you see Mike Ditka, remember that in life, just as in football, there's a lot more to winning than just wanting to. See, you have to prove yourself every day, to always give your best. You really never lose until you stop trying.
They're all here. The records, the films, the stories at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Don't miss it. This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. GMAC, the official sponsor of America's Dreams. And by the new generation of Oldsmobiles. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer.
Back for quarter number 2 from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Jiggets. The Cowboys with a 1-yard touchdown run from Timmy Newsome. A touchdown catch of 18 for Lord of Ray Alexander and a field goal from Roger Ruzek. And the Eagles have now been outscored 63-0 in the first quarter of their last 6 games. Every stat is overwhelmingly in favor of Dallas. There's one of them. 10 minutes to almost 5 minutes. 1st and 10 Eagles at the 31. Quick count. Anthony Toney for a couple. And that'll be a 2nd down and 8. And that gets the Eagles back to even yards. 0 yards rushing now.
Now, if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan, you start saying, hey, look, what do they have to do to get back in the game? Well, the one thing you want to do is establish some kind of a run game and be effective with it, and that gives Randall Cunningham an opportunity to look downfield.
There's a penalty, a flag that was slipped onto the ground, and it's against the Cowboys, and I quite frankly didn't hear what it was. It's a 5-yard call. Offside, Dallas is the call. So it'll be 1st down and 5.
That was one of those sneaky ones. The guy must have just dropped it out of his pocket.
Yeah, no, it
really didn't hit the field.
Slipped it in there a little bit. 1st and 5, Eagles down 17-0. Cunningham 2 of 3. He's been sacked twice. Play fake. Cunningham rolls out. Great job by Noonan of shadowing him, and then Cunningham has to throw it away. That was a terrific job of containment by Danny Noonan.
Well, what you got is the 2 inside guys really forced to play. Now, Randall's back in the backfield faking, but he's the only person he's faking is himself because he doesn't look around and see those defenders standing right behind him. So that suddenly he has to pull out, and there's nobody left there. Now, you see all those down blocks coming, and that's when Noonan beats everybody inside, and now Tutal's got the pressure from the backside, and Randall's just scrambling, trying to set up and throw the ball downfield.
2nd down and 5. 17-0. Dallas leads it. Another play fake, and Cunningham with time across the middle. Caught. Great catch. Keith Jackson. His second of the game, and the Eagles are across midfield for the first time. Bill Bates with the tackle.
Keith Jackson is one of those guys that came into the league and looked like he'd been playing in the National Football League for about 10 years. Randall Cunningham finds him coming across on a crossing pattern there. Now watch Keith just reach out, kind of make that nice play. But see, Billy Bates is right on his tail. That's the thing that will happen with Dallas. You'll be able to complete those kinds of passes, but you won't get that extra yardage on the run after you make the reception.
That's 44 catches for the year for the rookie from Oklahoma, who caught 13 his senior season at OU. First down and 10. First time Philadelphia's been across midfield, and Cunningham with an audible at the line. 45-second clock down to 2. He gets the snap off. Good protection, deep left side, man wide open, overthrown. Oh, he had him. Ron Johnson, just signed after Michael Quick went on the injured reserve list.
And see, that's the difference between an experienced receiver who is also quick. In that play, he's able to run underneath of the football. Ron Johnson couldn't do it on that opportunity. Now, what you do sometimes is you come back and your quarterback says, hey, look, I got to gauge it down a little bit. You're not quite as fast as Mike Quick.
And again, Dan, they go at that left. There's Mike Quick. Again, he's going to be out for at least 5 more weeks.
And he was telling us the other day, he says it just kills him to sit there and watch things happen. And he says, hey, I can make a difference. But he can't because he's got one leg just gotten out of a cast.
Second down and 10. Again, the change by Cunningham. Cowboys adjust their defense. Cunningham goes left side. He fires, bounces off a tackle. And then the Cowboys do show some aggressiveness. Interesting, Ernie Stautner, the defensive coordinator, said last night in a conversation that this young Dallas defense had played so well with such emotion through 5 games. And the last 2 games, they were just flat as could be, and they need to get aggressive today.
Yeah, in that Redskins game, the other day, they didn't come out pumped up like he likes to see them. And then, of course, against the Bears, they did the same kind of thing, kind of went into a shell early in the game. Bears got up on them, and then they really were just trying to protect themselves. Now, the thing that Ernie Stautner says is, hey, look, I want you guys to get after them tomorrow. And that's what the Cowboys have been doing defensively.
3rd and 5. Shotgun. No blitz. Cunningham, left side, intercepted. Picked off by the Cowboys, and here they come. This is Ron Francis. Inside the 30 and out of bounds with a flag down at the 27-yard line. Ron Francis, the number 2 draft choice a year ago, who came off injured reserve and lost his starting spot because he was so rusty the last 2 games. A 32-yard return. The play will stand. The penalty after the reception.
Now, what happens in that situation is you get a little pumped up now because, you know, you've been having a tough time, but suddenly... Now suddenly you get pumped back up again. The penalty, I believe, was on Everson Walls on the return. Now you start getting that emotion working for you again as a defensive back. Here's a play again. Now watch on the right side of your screen because that's where Ron Francis is going to be. He makes a nice pick right off of the receiver's back. And now watch him reach over and just grab the football right there. 38 gets a good block by Billy Bates. Now he does his job, and Ron Francis does the rest. Now watch, Everson Walls came down and apparently pushed one of the offensive men in the back, and that's what the penalty was all about.
Ball at the 42. That is only the 5th interception for the Cowboys this year. Here's Herschel Walker going right. And he cuts it up inside the 40, down at the 38. Reggie White makes the tackle. Turnovers have been a problem for Dallas. They came in tied for dead last in the league. They were -9 in turnovers.
And what they usually tells you is your defense is not playing as aggressively as you would like to see. But certainly today they've turned it up a notch defensively, Dallas has.
And the contrast is Philadelphia. They were +10 in turnovers coming in. That's only the 6th interception that Randall Cunningham has thrown this year.
It was like Ernie Stautner was telling us last night. He said, hey, look, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. You know, somebody will fumble the ball and you just don't get it.
2nd down and 5. Backs in the eye this time. They fake it to Walker. Ballure settles for an alternate receiver and drills the ball to Cosby. First down at the 25 into triple coverage. The former Pro Bowler who was bothered by an Achilles tendon and made some noise earlier this week about maybe wanting to end his career somewhere else.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, he loves playing in Dallas, and, you know, sometimes they're just doing that. They say those kinds of things that get the coach's attention a little bit. Coach knows how to get theirs, and sometimes the players know how to get it back.
Matter of fact, Thornton Chandler started the game, played 1 play, and went to the bench. And Cosby has been in since. And I don't know whether there was an injury to Chandler, but we'll try and find out. First down average, 7.1 for the Cowboys. They lead it 17-0. Walker left. Mike Pitts up on top with the initial contact.
Now, as you watch that Dallas offensive line when they do that shift, when Mike Ditka first came to the Bears, the one thing he asked us to do was that Dallas shift. Did he? Now, we look like an accordion when we were trying to do it. But what Dallas does with it is a lot of times you see those linemen stand up. Now, what that does is the defense can't read what they're doing in the backfield. And in that split second, you cause some doubt, and then you go back down and snap the football. But that's one of the reasons why the offensive line will do that stand-up routine.
I'll tell you something interesting. They did away with the shift for a year, and then they brought it back. There's the shift that Dan's talking about. 2nd down and 7. Cosby in motion. 4-man rush. Right side, Kelvin Martin almost is beheaded. And he's out of bounds short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 2. Roynell Young made the tackle. We're coming to you this afternoon from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Cowboys have assumed command. They lead it by 17-0 with 10:17 to go first half. And they have a 3rd and 2 at the 17. Dallas has scored thus far on an 18-yard pass to Ray Alexander, a 1-yard run by Tim Newsom, and a 26-yard field goal, Roger Ruzek. The Eagles have been across midfield just once and then had a pass intercepted by Ron Francis. 3rd and 2. Newsom, the motion man. Bootleg by Pelor. Did not get the first down. They'll have to call Ruzek out again. This is Clyde Simmons who stayed home. And that looked like designed run all the way, a run or pass.
Well, I tell you what, though, when Pelor turned back around, he's like, my goodness, you know, what's happening here? Because there are 2 or 3 defenders in his face. So sometimes you wonder whether or not it was by design or by mistake that it happened, because it looked like Herschel Walker wanted that football coming back across the formation.
Roger Ruzek hit his first field goal, 26-yard out. That makes him 5 of 11 for the year. This will be from 34 yards officially. Pelor will hold on 4th and 1. High snap. But the kick is up, and it's true, and Ruzek might be breaking out of his slump. He's 2 for 2. That's from 34 yards away. The Cowboys turn a Ron Francis interception into 3 points.
Introducing a sedan with the heart of a lion. The all-new Toyota Cressida. Inside, the majestic body beats a powerful 24-valve, 190-horsepower engine. Plus, legendary Toyota quality. Quality that has made Cressida the most trouble-free new car sold 2 years in a row. Cressida for '89, the king of luxury performance sedans and the pride of Toyota.
With the designed-in sound of a Delco Electronics music system, now the best seat in the house is in your GM car or truck. Delco Electronics, it's who we are.
In the past 2 years, 500,000 more Americans switched to Liberty Mutual for auto, home, and life insurance because we made their dollars work harder.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Nature's light, bathing fields of grain, enriching full, fresh hops, giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's Beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all.
9:26 to go first half. Cowboys have had the ball 4 times. They have scored 4 times. 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Clyde Simmons with an alert play on 3rd and 2. Not allowing Timmy Newsom out of the backfield and then coming in to contain Steve Pelor to force the field goal.
And that indeed was a bootleg. You're exactly right. And Steve Pelor couldn't dump it off to Timmy, so he says, hey, I got to run it. And Clyde pulls off and makes the stop.
Roger Ruzek, 2 field goals. Sean Beals back to return yet one more kickoff. One thing you never want to do is lead the league in kickoff returns.
Yeah.
That's a bad sign.
You don't want to see that happening.
Here's Beals at the 5 with a running start. Looked like a track man. He looked like Roger Kingdom as he came flying out. Hurdled the 10, hurdled the 15, hurdled the 20, and stumbled into a hurdle at the 25. A hurdle in the form of Ron Burton. Randall Cunningham comes back on. Things have not gone well for the Eagle offense. Buddy Ryan joins the crowd in urging them on.
Well, they have barely, the Eagles offense has barely had an opportunity to be on the field. You saw earlier in the graphic that we had that they've only had the ball about 5 minutes out of the game. Now, that's difficult for a young team to get untracked when you only have it that amount of time. And no sustained drives.
Right guard Ron Solt is in. He trips on the first play he makes, and Byers is wrapped up and knocked down. Ron Solt, who had a protracted contract dispute with the Philadelphia Eagles before finally agreeing to a trade from Indianapolis, and he has practiced twice in the last 8 months.
Yeah, how would you like to do that? You come in, you sign a big contract, and then your first play, you're trying to pull out and lead the player around your right side, and you just simply trip. And there's your running back, Keith Byers, is going, hey, big guy, come on.
You got the $1 million deal.
Yeah.
2nd down and 8. Cunningham in the shotgun. Sun comes out. And Cunningham has to hurry. Darts out of problems, and then he's in the grasp. That's the 3rd sack. And Danny Noonan gets it.
Well, one of the things you want to see a quarterback do, though, is if he's gonna run, sometimes step up in the pocket, because you can buy yourself a little bit more time, and then if you're absolutely forced to, then you run. Sometimes Randall gets up in there and he just wants to take off right now. You just got to settle up in there a little bit, give yourself some time, and then go.
3 sacks for the Cowboy defense, which came in with 22 sacks for the year.
And what they're doing is they're running games up front, and that's why if you step up in that pocket, sometimes there's nobody else left there to tackle you unless you try to take off.
Shovel pass, Anthony Toney. And that'll be short of the 1st down, out to the 30. Gary Cobb, the former Eagle, made the tackle, number 59. Gary Cobb, whose wife and family still lives in Philadelphia. Got to see them for the first time in a month or so last night. Interesting young man. He was a 9th-round draft choice originally of the Dallas Cowboys back in the 70s, out of Southern Cal, then played for Detroit for years.
And he was a man of the year here in the Philadelphia area in '87. He's a guy who gives a lot back to the community.
John Telchik, another excellent punt. Kelvin Martin at the 25. Martin tries to dance outside. Watch out. Oh, boy, what a pop. A fine return. Scott Curtis clotheslined him. Number 91, a 45-yard punt, a 16-yard return.
Meet your next truck. The truck for '89. The all-new Toyota V6 4x4 SR5. The most advanced V6 engine in its class. All-new on-the-move four-wheel demand. And a brand-new look that says Toyota quality.
It's everything I ever wanted.
Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
The Van Pattens meet one tough customer.
Dick Van Patten, you're saying someone can oil and lube my car better than me?
Yes, it's called Jiffy Lube. In 10 minutes, the J-Team changes the oil with quality Pennzoil.
Here comes the Pennzoil.
Replaces the filter and lubes the chassis. Fills the fluids, 14 services in all.
Okay, but how much?
So welcome to Jiffy Lube. We'll take care of you like family.
J-Team, this looks like the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
In Malaysia, Dada means drugs. In Malaysia, Dada is death, based on a true story. Dada is death. Coming soon to CBS.
Thus far, that man, John Telchik, out of the University of Texas, has been the most potent weapon the Eagles have posed. His punting has given them some help. And then after the punt, what happened? You say these kids aren't athletes?
Yeah, Billy Owens comes down and watch him check his oil here a little bit. Now, the one thing that you don't like is, again, Billy Owens went to the helmet there. And it's easy to pick on those punters. Wait until one of those linemen runs down there, though.
1st down and 10, and for the Cowboys, Michael Irvin and Kelvin Edwards are in at wide receiver spot. Herschel Walker breaks through, and once he does, can be oh so dangerous. And he's down at the 50-yard line. Well, let's bring you up to date on what's happened so far in the ball game, as the Cowboys lead it by 20-0. Time of possession, Dallas with a 4-minute edge. Valor is 13 of 14 for 139 and a touchdown, and the total offense 200 yards to 22.
Now, the thing is, Steve Valor is not only posting good numbers, but the other thing, as we talked about earlier, is he's putting them up on the board as well.
And Dallas has had problems scoring this year. Walker searches left and doesn't find anything. Manages to get maybe a half a yard. Mike Golick has come in place of Jerome Brown now, number 90. He made the tackle.
And what the Dallas offensive line is trying to do is they're doing that zone blocking again up front. Now, what that means is you are moving to an area with Philadelphia's defensive line slants fine. You're in position to pick them up. But that's the thing that they're trying to do. Block zones, clear out an area for your running back to run in.
3rd and 2. Minnesota leading Tampa Bay. Some other upsets in progress. Philadelphia was favored in this one. 3rd and 2. Valor will pass for the 15th time. Nice throw. And he's now 14 of 15. That's another first down for the Cowboys. Thornton Chandler made the catch.
What Steve Valor is doing now is he's using all phases of his passing game, throwing short with touch on the ball. Now, because he's been known as a guy who wants to throw downfield deep, he's now developing that touch passing game that Danny White does so effectively for the Cowboys.
On first downs, the Cowboys have now accumulated 13 and the Eagles 2. 1st and 10 at the 45. Cosby, Martin, and Alexander come into the lineup now. Cosby goes tight to the right side. 5.5 to go before halftime. 20-0 Dallas. Play fake, Valor back. Up in the pocket, sack, first time. Mike Reichenbach, who got his starting spot back about 3 weeks ago from Byron Evans.
Now, one of the things that the Philadelphia defense will do is they'll key blitz. And if you are Reichenbach here, number 55, and your guy does not come out in the pass pattern, you come in on the blitz. Now, watch Reichenbach slide around outside. After the game, you saw his running back stay in, and he says, hey, look, I'm going to go in and make this sack, because what happens is Giles was coming from outside, and he just accompanied him on the blitz.
That is only the 6th time this year that Steve Valor has been sacked. 6 times for Valor, 11 for the Cowboys. 5 last week in the first half with Danny White playing. And Walker is tripped up by Mike Golick behind the line. And it'll be 3rd and long for the first time.
The other thing that Buddy Ryan likes to do defensively is he'll have those defensive tackles inside, key on the offensive guards, and as soon as they read pull, and they'll look at your stamps a lot too just to make sure, and as soon as they read pull, they'll just fire straight across the line of scrimmage and get into your backfield and upset what you're trying to do.
3rd and 16 officially. The average prior to this play has been 3.2 for Dallas. And they've got a mile to go now. Out of the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. And a delayed blitz. Valor goes deep into zone coverage for Alexander, and it's incomplete. Eric Allen was right with him, and Terry Hogue had come back to help.
That was excellent play by Eric Allen, too, because you saw he got his hands on the football. He looks like the receiver on the plate. And the key to it in not getting an interference call is he is looking back at the football. Now watch number 21. He's down the left bottom of your screen, Eric Allen. Now he just stays with Alexander stride for stride, turns inside and looks for the football, and he's got the great position. And there he makes the play.
Mike Saxon is on the punt for the first time. He's averaging 41 yards per kick for the year. Mark Konechny is back, and that's not a great punt. And Konechny, though, is stumbling and has to dive forward to make the catch, so it is inside the 20. Mike Saxon has in his contract a $10,000 bonus every time he leads the league and punts down inside the 20. He picked up 10 grand a year ago.
At his home in France, wine expert Christopher Stevens invited friends to guess the price of a special cork-finished American Burgundy.
Très bon. Qu'en pensez-vous?
65. They guessed between $10 and $12.
70.
How much was the wine from America? You already know.
18 francs.
Because it's the same red wine you're probably drinking now.
C'est incroyable.
Today's Hearty Burgundy from Ernest and Julie Ocala. All the best a wine can be.
Hey, Slugger, what's happening?
I'm out of here, Dad, and I'm going as far as $3 and 42 cents will take me. Northwest has some of the lowest fares around, but not that low. While other airlines have prohibited smoking on flights under 2 hours, Northwest is the only U.S. airline to make every flight in North America smoke-free.
Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Northwest, Northwest!
There's something new out there. For all of you, the truck for 89. The all-new Toyota 4x2 Extra Cab SR5. Now available V6 power. Real backseat space. And a new look that can only say one thing. Toyota quality.
Got it all now.
Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
The punishing defense of the Vikings. Can it stop the unstoppable Roger Craig and the 49ers? Next Sunday on CBS Sports.
4:03 in the first half left in this one. Buddy Ryan looks on. His team trailing by 20-0. They have 0 yards rushing, 32 passing thus far. And Cunningham opens up in the shotgun. A 4-wide receiver set. A 4-man rush for Dallas. Cunningham drills it, and it's deflected. A flag is down. Pass interference. Should be the call on Robert Williams. Williams and Ron Francis, teammates at Baylor University. Williams got the starting spot when Francis was injured.
Defense, number 23, first down.
Now, the whole key here on the left side of your screen to watch now is the delivery of the blow. Now, if it's just before that ball gets there, you see that Robert is actually draped over, and that's what causes the flag to come out.
First down, Philadelphia.
Got to get some separation before the ball gets there, and then you can deliver.
Cunningham, left side behind Byers, and he had some pressure. Kevin Brooks was right in the face of Randall Cunningham. College football next Saturday on CBS Sports. The Penn State Nittany Lions travel to Morgantown, West Virginia to take on one of this season's major surprise teams, the undefeated West Virginia Mountaineers. It's a battle of traditional powers in the East next Saturday on CBS. Second down and 10. Cunningham left side. Caught. That's a first down at the 41-yard line. Ron Johnson makes the ground. His first since rejoining the Eagles. Johnson, a 30-year-old who's a 4-year NFL veteran. Put back on the active roster after Mike Quick went out with the injured reserve, First down and 10, Eagles. Shotgun again. 3:25 to go before halftime, and this one is deflected. And there's a flag on the far side of the field.
And what happened is Philadelphia did not set up. They went with like a 2-minute offense type thing, and as a result, they didn't have time to set up.
That'll cost him 5.
What you're trying to do here is the Philadelphia offense is get things moving, get people excited again. And sometimes when you do that, you say, hey, look, we're going to go without the huddle. But the result is some of you guys don't get into that 2-minute phase.
Illegal formation. 6 men on the line of scrimmage offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
That'll make it first and 15. Again, Ron Solt, number 65, is in at right guard, replacing Reggie Singletary. He's matched up against Kevin Brooks. Cunningham, 6 of 11 for 60 yards. And again, no blitz by the Cowboys. Cunningham across the middle. Keith Jackson with a stiff arm. And a first down at the 31. A gain of 33.
And you know Randall Cunningham loves to go to this big tight end that he's got now. The guy reminds you a lot of Kellen Winslow. Watch Cunningham. He finds him right across the middle. Now the key here is he does not go down when Everson Walsh tries to make the tackle. He does that little Heisman move there on Michael Downs. And now watch him punish some people on the sideline when he goes out. But 33 yards on the pass. That's what this young guy does for you offensively.
3 for 54 in this game, 45 for the year, and the deepest Philadelphia penetration of the afternoon. Stunts by the Cowboy defense. Cunningham across the middle again. At the 23, it's Keith Jackson. Tackled by Michael Downs, the free safety. And the first signs of life by the Eagle offense this afternoon. And if they can get something in, what a momentum builder that would be before halftime.
That's right, because they know they're going to have to hear from Buddy at halftime, and you want to put something on the board.
Cunningham flushed. Here's where he can kill you. First down, Eagles. Randall averages 7.9 yards every time he runs the ball.
And the key there is he got a nice turn back block from Anthony Toney, who turned around on Jim Jeffcoat and really put it right up in his chest. So his receivers downfield are turning around and recognizing the fact that he has that running ability and throwing blocks for him downfield.
In the last 3 games, only 8 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown. That time he picks up a first down at the 14-yard line. 20-0. Cowboys lead. Cunningham wants it quiet. They hand it off to Anthony Toney. And Ron Burton comes over the top as Ron Francis and Danny Noonan get low in front of him, and they stop him after a gain of 2 or 3.
And Randall came back to the huddle and said, "Hey, thanks, buddy. You threw that block for me. I'm going to hand it off to you this time. Give you a little action down here on the goal line."
At least one more play before the 2-minute warning. 2nd down and 8. 2nd and 7. Cunningham in the end zone, tipped incomplete. Everson Walls might have gotten a hand on it.
Everson Walls had the blanket of protection on Keith Jackson that time. He did get a hand on it, tipped it back over his shoulder. But the thing was that play, I think that Randall Cunningham tried to force the ball into Keith Jackson. It just wasn't there. The play was not there to be made.
That brings up a 3rd and 7. Philadelphia 0 of 4 on 3rd down conversions thus far. And they have the ball at the 11-yard line. Garrity goes left side, so does Byers. Toney stays in the backfield, and Carter and Jackson are both wide right. 3rd and 7. No blitz by the Cowboys. Cunningham, the ball is tipped and caught. Touchdown. Keith Byers. Zendejas on to try and make it a 13-point deficit with 2:07 to go in the half. On 3rd and 4, Byers with the deflected pass. Got it.
And that woke this Philly crowd up a little bit. Keith Byers there, an 11-yard TD reception, but great concentration on the play, because as he was running across the end zone, the ball was indeed tipped, and he kept his eye on it. Now watch, right in the middle of your screen, Cunningham pulls out. Now he finds Byers, but watch that ball's tipped right there by Gary Cobb. He tips it up. Now watch Byers concentrate on the ball. Even with a defender in front of him, he still makes the catch and rolls into the end zone for the score.
That's Byers' 2nd pass receiving touchdown of the year.
And there he's saying thank you.
I like that a little better than a spike. Coming up at halftime, Brad Irv and Dick Butkus with all the scores and highlights. And Leslie Visser visited with Dan's old teammate Walter Payton this week and found even without football, he's still a man in motion. That's all coming up 2 minutes and 7 seconds from right now.
Well, you know, Walter's racing cars now, and now he's racing them legally, I should say. He's on the racetrack.
And following in the path of Dan Pastorini.
That's right. He likes to live it on the edge. You know, he's the guy who loved speed when he was running the football, and now he can drive and get on the track and enjoy himself.
That's got to give a huge lift to the Eagles now. Excellent drive, featuring the catches of Keith Jackson until they got to the 11-yard line, and then Keith Byers gets the deflected pass. And Philadelphia within 13, 20-7. Zendejas with the kick. Cornell Burbage comes left and is knocked out of bounds near the 26-yard line. And that'll do it prior to the 2-minute warning. A 19-yard return by Cornell Burbage. Steve Pelor comes back on the field with the Cowboys leading 20-7.
Somewhere, right now, there's a clean, crisp, ice cold, Beechwood aged Budweiser with your name on it.
Last year, half of our sales were of products that didn't even exist 5 years ago, like our pacemaker that changes speed to meet demands on the heart. We're Siemens USA, leaders in medical engineering, telecommunications, energy, automation, and electronics, with 23 research and development centers coast to coast, helping to build a stronger, more productive America. We are Siemens USA.
Cars aren't cheap, never have been. That's why I never take shortcuts with cheap oil and air filters. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run.
Now get up to $8.80 back on AC filters and plugs. See your retailer for details.
1:58 to go before halftime. A most impressive Philadelphia drive, 83 yards in 9 plays. After having done absolutely nothing in the first 17 minutes of the first half. That has got to be just a terrifically impressive drive and important drive for the Eagles.
Well, it's a real uplift for the Eagles. Now the key is for Dallas, don't make a mistake in the 2-minute portion of this quarter. Go in with your heads up high when you go into the locker room. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, they have incurred the wrath of Buddy Ryan, and at halftime, it's not going to be a lot of fun in that locker room. I know I've been there with them a couple of times, and I can tell you, it won't be printable.
This may be a case where we don't want to have the microphones in the locker room at halftime. Cowboys have the ball at the 30, and Pelor's back to throw. They don't have any timeouts left, remember that. And here is Newsom, who does not get out of bounds. He does have a first down at the 45. The Cowboys used all 3 of their timeouts fighting the clock in the first quarter.
But as we said earlier, the thing that they don't want to do here is make a mistake by throwing an interception and take that advantage away from them and that up feeling that they've got going into the locker room at halftime.
Steve Pelor is 14 of 16, 15 of 17 in the first half. No timeouts left. Everett Gay in, 4 wide receiver set. Screen pass left. Walker nailed. Seth Joyner, number 59, makes the tackle.
Seth Joyner is one of those guys, Buddy Ryan says, as soon as he really locks into this defense, he's going to be in the Pro Bowl.
Now Philadelphia calls timeout. They do have 2 left after this one.
Timeout. Philadelphia.
Nope, they've got 1 left. I beg your pardon.
Timeout.
Now with a minute 8 remaining.
42nd
timeout. 42nd timeout, as you heard. But now with a minute remaining, everybody says, well, gee, why did they call a timeout? Well, they figure if they can stop Dallas on this drive, they get the ball back maybe with about 50 seconds left on the clock, and they're able to go back in and maybe try to get a field goal out of this thing.
That makes his second down call for Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys all that important, because if they do have to yield the ball, they fall in danger of having the lead trimmed. And it's a Cowboy effort that may be the best of the year. They played with great enthusiasm, the Cowboys did, in the first 5 games of the year. Lost in the Monday night game to New Orleans, and then looked absolutely flat in back-to-back games against the Redskins and the Bears.
Well, the one thing you know about a Dallas team is it's well coached. Tom Landry is not going to let his players slip too far from where they're supposed to be. And the thing that he always does is switch things up a little bit from week to week, and that changes, the look that defense will get.
2nd and 10 Dallas with 1:08 to go in the half. Eagles have 1 timeout left. The Cowboys are out of them. 5-man rush. Ball batted down as Kelvin Martin slipped, and then Roynell Young got there to knock it away.
Well, I tell you what, that's a beautiful play by Roynell, though. He just kind of reached over and slapped the ball down and understood his spacing. See, that's the thing. When you get a defensive back, he understands the spacing, and that's what Roynell does, and he reaches over without getting the penalty.
Give you an idea of how young this Philadelphia team. Roynell Young and Ron Baker, who was inactive today, the offensive lineman, are the only 2 players remaining from the Super Bowl team of 1980. 3rd and 10. Ballore, deep left side, man wide open. Alexander needs to get out of bounds and does not. So the clock keeps running. First down, Dallas at the 35, 21-yard gain. But Roy Alexander could not get out of bounds.
But the key thing is he made the reception. And you see Tom Landry arguing the point. He said he rolled out of bounds, but that's not the way it was ruled. Now Ballore downs the football.
And a flag is thrown by Dick Hantak. And Ballore is going to argue the case.
Now, what that will be is delay of game if indeed.
Here the touching offense.
He threw it.
Number 64, the pass hit the center in the foot.
Yep.
Lost it down. 2nd down.
That's the first time Tom Rafferty's been in a position to catch a pass in a 13-year career. But the real conflict here, that was an inadvertent throw at Rafferty's feet, comes here with Alexander. Did he or did he not get out of bounds? Landry said he did.
Right side of your screen. Now the key is here. He can still be rolling even though if he's not touched. He can roll his way to that sideline. Now he tries to get up here, but there you see he is touched just before he gets to that sideline. You can see the white stripe going down the side, and he didn't make it.
Ballore, left side again. Alexander, and again, he does not get out of bounds. That's good for the first down.
What he's got to do as a receiver is come back to the football, catch the football, and then make his move out of bounds. That's why he's sliding down to the turf. Come back to the ball.
Now let's see if he can avoid Rafferty. No, he's going to throw it right side, and it's incomplete. Better it was not caught.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelvin Martin, the intended receiver.
Now, the quarterback is allowed to throw that ball right down at the lineman's feet, but you cannot hit him because that means he's a receiver. And I'm sure that when Rafferty looks at the stats after the game, he says, hey, at least give you a chance to catch it and run with it.
Landry looks a little agitated.
Yep.
That for him is an expression of extreme anger. 2nd down and 10. They're within field goal range of Ruzek with 19 seconds to go. No timeouts left. Blitz coming by the Eagles. Ballore across the middle. No timeouts. The ball is down at the 13, and the clock shows 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7.
Philly can take their time getting back over across the line of scrimmage now.
Did he get it before the clock expired? I don't think he did. He did not, because his right guard, Crawford Kerr, had not gotten back and gotten set.
The thing that happens a lot of times in that situation is the guy saying, what's it on? Never mind what it's on, just line up and get down. Now here's the setup. You see Crawford Kerr coming back from up the field. He tries to settle in, and it's just too late. Steve Ballore bounces that ball up just as that last second ticks off the clock.
So an impressive late first half drive comes up empty. The Cowboys got to the 12 with no timeouts, but they don't get another score.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota. There's quality. Who could ask for anything more? Northwest Airlines, serving more than 220 cities in 20 countries on 3 continents. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
At Prudential Bates, rock solid means more than strength and stability. It's having the resources to develop and deliver individualized investment ideas. Market-wise means the insight and capability that helps clients find opportunities no matter what the investment climate. If anyone can get your strategy right on target right now, that's it. It's Prudential Bates Securities, rock solid, market-wise.
Michael Dukakis has opposed virtually every defense system we developed. He opposed new aircraft carriers. He opposed anti-satellite weapons. He opposed 4 missile systems, including Pershing II missile deployment. Dukakis opposed the stealth bomber and a ground emergency warning system against nuclear attack. He even criticized our rescue mission to Grenada and our strike on Libya. And now he wants to be our commander-in-chief. America can't afford that risk.
Can 10 people help stop student drinking? We hope so. Because alcohol-related death and injuries to college kids isn't just another story to the people of Channel 10 News. It's a time bomb. Watch Doreen Gensler's follow-up report on college drinking Monday on Channel 10 News. And put 10 people to work for you.
Welcome back to our New York studio. You know, a surprise thus far has been how well the Chicago Bears have done without Walter Payton. As it turns out, Walter Payton is also doing fine without the Bears, although he is now a member of their board of directors. Now, Sweetness is filling his time and making money, giving speeches and running a chain of nightclubs, and as Leslie Visser reports, he's found other ways to keep his competitive motor racing.
I've heard a lot of rumors that you're going to get bored, you're going to get tired, you're not going to have anything to do, you're going to get irritable. All those things haven't come into play yet. I have been irritable, I have been tired, but never bored.
Walter Payton is still a man in motion, still able to turn it on in the open field.
A lot of people say, you're crazy. Well, I think I was crazy for playing football for 13 years and running out there with guys twice my size. The Illinois State Police said, well, you know what, you have a unique gift and skill, and you have a desire to want to go fast. Please take it to the track. So I took their advice.
This is the first award of its kind, and there could not be anybody more deserving than you.
This Lifetime Award is one of the many honors to come his way. But his wife, Connie, is a little anxious about his zest for life in the fast lane.
I'm not too thrilled about him driving, but it's sort of taken up the void of not playing football. So if that's what it's going to take to keep him busy and happy right now, then that's fine. I think I can put up with it for a little while.
I also have Hugh Green's helmet, Mike Quick, Tony Dorsett's. And,
Football will always be a big part of his life. And the hardest part of not playing is not playing.
The thing I liked the most about football, I think, was the association with the guys every day. And that's not there anymore. To watch a game on TV, I couldn't do it. And to be in the stands, I couldn't do it. I think it would just tear me apart. I realized that, that was the last time I would be at Soldier Field as a player. Last time I would be in the uniform. Chicago Bears. It was kind of a bitter end because we're a much better football team than what we showed that day, and we didn't do it.
He is a man of many faces who would seem to have it all. A beautiful family, a lovely home, and a thriving nightclub chain. And now he wants to own a football team.
What is the part about owning a team that you think would be interesting?
Probably the excitement of seeing, so like a kid. You start from something from the beginning and you nurture it and you add to it. You send it this way, you send it that way, and all of a sudden it comes into maturity, and then it starts to, you see some of the things that you want start to unfold. I think that's it.
Even in retirement, Walter Payton is a man who's still on a roll. For CBS Sports, I'm Leslie Visser.
Boy, what an athlete, what a career he had. But I've always thought that the worst football fans in America are retired pro football players because all of your life you're accustomed to going to the stadium, suiting up, and playing a game. You can't sit in the stands and watch.
Well, I've always been asked who's the best running back, and I always thought Gale Sayers was, but I think I got to give the nod to Walter because of a few things. He's played 13 years, so I think consistency is an important part. He's got, what, 10 NFL records, 25 Bear records, and he's missed one game in 13 years, so you got to say that he's probably one of the all-time best running backs.
Yeah, Bo Jackson has already missed more games in his brief career than Walter Payton did in his entire career. That's unbelievable. Let's get to the scoreboard now and get you up to date with everything, Dick, because we've got some late scores right now. As you know, you're watching this game. Dallas jumped all over Philadelphia, 20-7. An insult? Premature? No, perhaps. Ill feelings between these two? Somewhat. Little waltz out there between some of the big fellas. But one thing for sure, Steve Palleur has been throwing the ball a little bit better in this game. Now, maybe he's been taking lessons from Dick, who says throw off that front foot, but he's also getting some help from Ray Alexander. That's a fine catch there, setting up a touchdown. But the Eagles did show some life late, coming back. Cunningham, Byers, touchdown, and now it is 20-7, Dick.
Well, I told you this guy. I wanted him to lay off the Bears last week, and now he came back in mid-season. Plur's in there throwing. And what's going on with the Eagles?
You asked me like I know. Well, Buddy Ryan, remember in their pregame show, said everybody's healthy. So, you know, expect her to bang up second half, big guy.
Now, here is the shock of the day so far. Atlanta, into the third quarter, leading the New York Giants. It is 10-3 Falcons, and it has been a nightmare so far for Phil Simms. He's thrown 2 interceptions, but now I want you to see this embarrassment when Phil lines up in the shotgun behind his guard. Bart Oates says, come on, Phil, sneak over. No one will know. He gets over there in the right spot. And the big running back for Falcons, and perhaps the unheralded back of the year, is John Settle from 1 yard out. Dick, did you ever have anything like that happen where a quarterback got behind a guard?
Yeah, one year we were playing the Cardinals, and Jack and Cannon called a play on the first sound, and he goes up to the line of scrimmage, puts his hands under Mike Pyle, and he didn't like the defense, so he pulls his hands out. He goes, time out! And as soon as Mike heard time, he snaps the ball, pops up in the air. Larry Stalling catches it, and he's running down the field, and I'm looking, what the heck? I mean, you know,
I
it's
bet
terrible.
you said heck. All right, Houston and Cincinnati. The Bengals have jumped all over the Oilers in the big one of the AFC Central. It was 28-0. Oilers turned the ball over 3 times in the first quarter. Pittsburgh has limited Denver to 2 first downs, playing without John Elway in that game. The Raiders lead New Orleans. Speaking of Bo Jackson, knocked out with a pulled hamstring. Marcus Allen steps in. He's rushed for 73 yards. Oh, here's the big one. The Lions over the Chiefs, 7-3. Irv, you've been intently watching this one. What's the highlight here?
This is the highlight of the game. Rusty Oder threw the ball 9 times in the first half, connected on 5 passes. That 14-yard strike went to Jeff Chadwick for the touchdown of the first half.
Catch any sleep during the first half? Some Z's over there. New England and Buffalo in the AFC East right now, tied at 13. And the story here, Scott Norwood has kicked 2 more field goals for the Bills. He has 77 points for the season. Minnesota and Tampa Bay. Vinny Testaverde has thrown 4 interceptions already in this game to go along with his 1 touchdown pass and also a fumble in the game. And the Vikings have made the Bucks pay as a result. They've cashed 2 of those interceptions into quick strike touchdowns. Wilson both times to his tight end. And Irv, what about the education of Testaverde?
Well, you know, he's had some difficulty reading defenses. Everybody knows that. He likes to lock on to one receiver and stay with him all day long. And, of course, the Vikings are better in secondary, simply taking advantage of that.
Yeah, he locks in on guys in the wrong colored jerseys. And we'll continue right after these messages from your local stations.
You are alone. Darkness blankets the city. You hear a sound, footsteps approaching. You turn, run. The danger is real, not imagined. In your mind, you remember there is someone who can help, someone who cares, someone who understands justice. Wednesday night, October 26th, Your Protection returns at 9, 8 Central and Mountain. Are you ready for the Equalizer?
This is CBS. If you've been thinking about the Saab 9000, but just haven't gotten around to looking at one, now is the time. For an even closer look, see your Saab dealer.
Buy or lease one of the most intelligent cars ever built at your local Saab dealers today.
You can't get hipper than moi. Health club, can't you tell? Mousse in my hair. Tanning salon every Thursday. Whatever kind of food I'm eating, that's the kind of beer I'm drinking, comprendo?
When you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Oh, hot. Designer sweats, remote control, everything. VP at 28. Whoa. My imported beer, whatever's in this week.
Like we said, when you're done kidding around, Heineken.
This long row of junkers is no match for Ford's Bigfoot. But here's a real test. Can a regular Ford 4x4 drive over it carrying a Chevy and towing the 14,000-pound Bigfoot? The Ford starts clawing over the jagged metal with a Chevy on board and towing Bigfoot. Ford is the only pickup with 4 choices of multi-port fuel-injected engines that give you the power you want when you need it. Yes, the Ford triumphs over the twisted junkers. And now save over $2,000 on F-150 trucks, only at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
Today's game is locally sponsored by your Quality Plus Ford dealers.
Halftime at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia with the Dallas Cowboys leading by 13, 20-7. A Dallas team that came in 2-5 and in danger of falling to 2-6 for the first time in 25 years. However, they got Dan out to that 20-0 lead, and then what I think was a very significant drive toward the end of the half by the Eagles.
Well, Randall Cunningham woke up. He got some protection up front. That was the key for him, and he really started taking advantage of some opportunities in that Dallas defense. Now, the thing that happened at the end of the half, where Steve Pelluer couldn't quite get that ball off in time to get set up for the Roger Ruzek field goal, may come back to haunt Dallas later on in this ball game when you think that was quite possibly could have been an additional 3 points that really could have set up the difference coming down late in the ball game.
This won't shock you. The statistical edge goes to the Cowboys at halftime. They have 17 first downs to 7. Total passing yards, almost 100-yard edge there. Total yardage, more than 100-yard edge. And time of possession, 18:46 for Dallas. 11 minutes and 14 seconds. The one Eagle drive, 83 yards in 9 plays, made it 20-7. And then, as Dan said, the Cowboys had a chance for at least a field goal, but they had used their 3 timeouts in the first quarter, had to try and negotiate the length of the field with no timeouts, and came up a second short. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
What do you want to do?
Can we get the bags off?
What do you need?
All you need when you need to be together. Membership has its privileges.
They came across country by wagon and settled in Amana, Iowa. Whatever they needed, they made by hand. Made it the best it could be. That same fundamental is still practiced today in Amana, Iowa, the home of Amana Appliances, a Raytheon company. Whatever you make it the best it can be. Raytheon, where quality starts with fundamentals.
Most of the time, after a manufacturer puts the finishing touches on a suit or sport coat, he ships it to a wholesaler who marks it up. He, in turn, ships it to a retailer who also marks it up. But there is a manufacturer who ships his garments directly to his own stores, which is why his suits and sport coats carry a different mark. Anderson Little, a good suit at a good price.
When was the last time you were really excited by a new car? Introducing the 1989 Cadillac DeVille and Fleetwood. They're available now, and they demand attention. These beautiful new Cadillacs are longer and roomier with 4.5-liter V8 power and front-wheel drive. So when a new DeVille or Fleetwood catches your eye, go ahead, give in to the temptation. See your Cadillac Super Network dealer for an exciting test drive.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by UPS. We deliver to every address in the U.S. and to 41 countries worldwide. Duracell, the copper top battery, it now lasts 30% longer. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Sellout crowd in Philadelphia. This, by the way, as an ironic footnote to this game, is the 8th straight sellout crowd. The Cowboys have played before, but 7 of them have been on the road. They can't sell out at home anymore.
Well, it's kind of like being the homecoming game for the home team.
Yeah.
I don't like to see that.
Roger Ruzek will kick off as Philadelphia returns the kick to open the third quarter. 20-7, Dallas. Taken by Sean Beals at the 2, again with a running start. Gets by Todd Fowler and is chased and dragged down from behind by who else but Bill Bates, who even now is the leading special teams tackler for the Cowboys. That means Randall Cunningham comes on. Randall with a so-so first half, much of the first half. Look at the quarterback comparison. Pelluer, 19 of 25 for nearly 200 yards in the touchdown. Cunningham, 9 of 15 for 112. 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
And that's a direct reflection, of course, of the time of possession. But the quarterbacks have been spreading that football around pretty well, too. particularly when you look at Dallas and you think about all the hands that the ball's been in for them.
They hand it off on the trap play inside, and Keith Byers is out to the 20. Now, where has that ball been going? The two quarterbacks, where have they been throwing it? Well, Roynell Young has been thrown at 5 times, Eric Allen 8. They've completed 7 of 8 at Eric Allen, 1 deflected, and he's made 3 tackles.
Well, the key, though, with Eric Allen is the thing that the passes that they've been completing on him are those underneath passes, so he's not really getting beat deep. And, you know, that's a tough spot. If they throw that 5 or 6 yard pass, chances are they're going to complete it on you.
Anthony Toney out of the backfield, 2nd down and 6, Eagles. Ball at their own 20. Cunningham on a half roll, pulls up, and is not in the grasp. No whistle from Dick Hantak. And the play gets yardage to the 21-yard line, Keith Byers. Interesting, the contrast between the whistle that was blown in the first half and then Hantak's reluctance to whistle at this time. There is a man down for the Cowboys.
We'll try to get a number for him and a name as soon as we can see who it is down there.
I can't tell yet. Don Cochran and Kenny Locker, the Cowboy trainers, are out.
Well, they've had their shares of injuries this year, and they'll afford another one.
Time has been called while they check on the injured Cowboy, and we'll get an identification. But first, we'll take this time out.
When it comes to owner loyalty, every domestic and import car division takes a backseat to Ford. Because Ford owners in households all over America have proven their loyalty to Ford by buying another Ford.
Winning the world over. You're winning. Have you been behind the wheel? In a Ford. Winning the world over. Have you driven a Ford lately?
You know, I used to think all gasolines were alike. They're not. See, I just got the car I always wanted. Fuel injected and everything. But every morning when I'd start it, it would spit and sputter, and sometimes it would stop altogether. Then I discovered this place, Phillips 66, and high detergent, super clean, unleaded gasoline. Well, after a couple of tank pulls, I discovered something else. The problem wasn't my new car, it was my old gasoline.
Today's Duracell batteries are built to last up to 30% longer than the ones we made a few years back. Guaranteeing a long, happy life. Today's Duracell lasts 30% longer.
Surprise. Here's the tickets for your honeymoon.
Oh, Dad, you shouldn't have.
And we're going with you.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Northwest frequent flyers earn free trips fast, so you can give them away or go away or both.
The injured player is defensive tackle Kevin Brooks, former #1 draft choice. He is on the bench being tended to right now, and Randy White, who is playing in his 201st game for the Cowboys today, has taken his place. Randy now in a backup role as he winds down a brilliant career. 3rd down and 5, Eagles out of the shotgun. Delayed 4-man rush, pass right side, caught by Carter. 1st down for 31. Manny Hendricks in the nickel made the tackle. But Chris Carter caught the pass for the 1st down.
And the one thing that you want to see Chris Carter do a little bit more of is when he turns around and he does that stop. You'd like to see him work back towards Randall, because what that does is it forces the ball back to him and separates him from the defensive back. That time he just kind of stopped and waited for the ball to get there. Now what will happen is at some point or another you'll see Manny Hendricks reaching over and slapping that ball away.
1st and 10 Eagles. They trail 20-7, opening moments of the 2nd half. Cunningham will throw it again. Right side. Keith Jackson bobbles it, grabs it, out of bounds. Nice gain to the 42. Gene Lockhart makes the tackle.
Now, the one thing that's happening up front for the Philadelphia offensive line is suddenly these guys are snapping those arms out. Now, watch him get separation on those defensive linemen. You'll see those arms being extended, and that's what causes this play to be successful downfield and allows Keith Jackson to get open on the pass pattern. The fact that Randall Cunningham has an opportunity to sit back and focus downfield and throw the football.
2nd down and 1. Crowd revived interest. They were sleepwalking until the Eagles came alive with that 83-yard drive late in the 1st half. On 2nd and 1, Cunningham goes left side, caught by Byers. And he's to the 45-yard line. Philadelphia looks sharp. to open the third quarter. Gene Lockhart with the tackle.
Now, what has apparently happened is when Philadelphia went into at the half, they say, hey, look, if we allow our quarterback some time, we can take advantage of the defenses that they're playing because they're playing kind of soft on our receivers. Now, one of the guys that they're playing soft on is Keith Jackson, number 88. The other guy, Byers, coming out of the backfield. But now watch that double team on Too-Tall, slow blocking with the tight end. Jackson stays in and helps out on Too-Tall.
Ron Heller also got the block. It's 1st and 10 Eagles. Trap play inside. Big hole. Junior Toddle-Latossi had come into the backfield, number 37. And a quick opener. He spurts up the middle over left guard and center. And Toddle-Latossi with a big gain to the 35.
Or as Buddy Ryan calls him, Junior Smith, because he can't pronounce his name. Now, the one thing about Buddy, though, is at least now that he's a head coach, he's actually trying to use names. When he was in Chicago, the only thing he would do was use numbers. So Otis Wilson was 55, and he'd never call him Otis.
What did he call you?
Well. Way to throw that curve at me.
Now we're back to where we can't use microphones again. Here's the stretch of the chain, just short. But a most impressive Eagle drive. Kevin Brooks, bruised neck, and will be back in the lineup. That's the report from the Cowboy bench. He's back in right now, as a matter of fact. So a couple of plays on the bench, and Brooks is back in.
Now, the one thing in the maturation of Randall Cunningham is what you're seeing is the fact that now he knows how to make those adjustments when he comes to the line of scrimmage. He's not necessarily nervous back there now. He sees something, and he says, oh, I can take advantage of this, rather than saying, gee, what are they doing? They're moving around on me.
Waist down now for the Eagles, 2nd and a foot. Garrity goes left. 20-7, 11:54 to go, third quarter. Remington over the ball. Tony and Toddle-Latossi in the backfield, play fake. Cunningham left side. Caught by Toddle-Latossi, and he does have enough to move the chain. His forward progress inside the 35. That should be a first down, Eagles.
Again, a surprising score. Atlanta in front of the Giants there.
New Orleans leads the Raiders in a tough one.
Now, what you're seeing with Philadelphia, though, is they've established a little bit of a running game. Now they use their play action. And you're seeing those offensive linemen, once again, even on play action, they'll sell the play action by firing out. Then they'll snap those arms out. And again, they're getting that separation. Randall Cunningham sits back and says, hey, this is great. I'm not even getting my uniform dirty now.
They will bring the chain across to see if he got the first down.
The other thing we talked about with the Dallas defense is the fact they're playing in that flex, and it takes a little bit of your aggressiveness away. And in talking to Too-Tall, he said, yeah, quite honestly, it does, but he kind of likes it after he made a couple of Pro Bowls off of it.
There's Too-Tall Jones. Never has missed a game for the Cowboys in 14 years.
So we were joking, we're calling him the Abdul-Jabbar of football. He says, I don't mind that.
I asked him last night how close he had ever come to missing a game. He said about 5 years ago. The Cowboys have never lost 2 in a row to Philadelphia since 1967. Too-Tall said he almost missed one 5 years ago. But by Sunday morning, his knee, which he had injured, felt good. He played the entire game. He's playing in his 200th game today. Cunningham with the rollout. Lobs it deep. Jackson. First down to 17. Michael Downs. And Bill Bates, but not before the Eagles get another 1st and 10. A gain of 19 yards.
Now, what's happening along that Dallas defensive line? First, they shift from a 4-3 flex to an over defense. Now, what that means is there's no defensive end over the tight end, Keith Jackson. Now they're switching back, and they get caught right in the middle of the play in the switch. Jackson breaks open. Bates can't cover him right away. He makes the reception.
Keith Byers back in the lineup. Garrity goes wide left. Carter is wide right. Cowboys adjust their defense. 1st and 10 Eagles, trailing by 13. Anthony Toney tests the middle of the line and finds it good for a gain of about 3.
Yeah, but you know what? That Philadelphia offensive line has not opened up a hole in the middle for any of their running backs so far today. They've had a lot of difficulty running inside with Brooks and those guys inside there. For some reason, though, they have not really focused in on trying to run some sweeps today and testing the outside and the perimeter of that Dallas defense.
2nd down and 8. Ball at the 14. 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Again, Garrity breaks off on the left side where he works against Robert Williams. And Carter also goes left. Everson Walls goes over to work on him. Split backs from the 14-yard line.
You see Cunningham checking down.
Has to hurry to beat the 45-second clock and does. Heads left, pulls up, fires it away. Threw it away. Danny Noonan is complaining that he was held, and he's not going to win the argument. Noonan with another good job of almost spying on Cunningham.
Well, what they're doing is they're faking that blitz up inside. Sometimes they're coming with it. What that causes Cunningham to do is check off. Right now, he says, I'm going to go to the audible. That time he rolled out trying to roll away from the blitz. And then Danny Noonan, now you see him arguing his case and saying, hey, I'm being held in there. But, you know, the officials get kind of used to that. They say the defensive linemen are always saying they're being held. And as an offensive lineman, I always said I've never held an honest man in my life.
3rd and 8. Prevent defense in for the Cowboys. Hendricks and Ron Francis. 20-7. Dallas leads it. 3 wide receiver set. The clock down to 3 seconds, and Cunningham has to call timeout. They took an extraordinarily long time to call the play in the huddle. So Cunningham took one glance at the 45-second clock. It showed 3 seconds, and he said, timeout.
The Ford Mustang LX convertible. With its impressive list of standard features, it's just what the doctor ordered. Open up and say, ah.
At UPS, we're changing the face of the international delivery business. Because now, UPS delivers to every country in Western Europe, the Pacific Rim, Down Under, and Canada. And because we're so efficient, we can deliver your international parcels and documents for fewer francs, yen, or drachmas than other companies charge. And let's face it, a drachma saved is a drachma earned. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
If you haven't seen what Zenith's been doing lately, see what you've been missing?
New season, new time, new wave, premiering Monday.
Oh, no, it can't be.
New heart.
Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboy team thoroughly dominant in the first quarter of the game. They jumped out to a 20-0 lead. A late Eagle drive made it 20-7 before halftime, and now Philadelphia right back in this. They have driven to the 14. They have a 3rd and 8, trailing by 13. Randall Cunningham in a shotgun blitz. One of the few times Dallas has blitzed today, and they get Cunningham for the 4th time. It's Kevin Brooks.
And you really get the feeling on that play that maybe Randall Cunningham should have thrown the ball away through the back of the end zone rather than taking the sack and losing another 10 to 12 yards on the play. Kevin Brooks has an exceptional effort up front, number 99. There you see him going along with the rollout action here. Now finally he gets away from Ron Solt and makes the sack. Solt's got to realize, though, you know, Randall Cunningham is one of those quarterbacks that will take it right to the sideline and then pinpoint it down in the end zone, so you have to give him that breaking opportunity.
That brings on Luis Zendejas, who has hit 5 in a row since joining the Eagles. This will be from 40 yards away. Got it. 39 yards officially, 6 in a row for the former Cowboy, Luis Zendejas. And that cuts what had been a 20-point lead in the middle. 9:13 to go before halftime, and 2 back-to-back impressive drives now for the Eagles.
That's right. Now that what they're doing is they're playing their game, and they're saying to Dallas, okay, you guys think you can go to sleep on us now. Now we're going to start putting some points on the board. And then late in the game, if you have not been up for the second half, then it gets really difficult to come back and start the engine again late in the game if you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Buddy Ryan's team comes in trailing 3 teams in the NFC East by a game, and you saw the Giants are struggling already today to Atlanta.
And Buddy Ryan, he has his offensive coordinator, Ted Plum, who when we were all with the Bears was the offensive receiver coach. Now he said that Ted Plum is just like him in those offensive meetings. You know, he really gets after guys when he needs to, but he thinks just like Buddy Ryan. And you see that kind of aggressive game plan they've gone to now with the Philadelphia Eagles. But now the opportunity is here for Steve Pellure and the Cowboys to make a big charge back and try to seal this thing up.
Zendejas will kick off. Cowboys have Cornell Burbage and Kelvin Martin deep. 20-10. It was 20-zip. High and short, Burbage at the 16. Comes near side and is knocked out of bounds across the 30 near the 32-yard line. And Steve Pallor leads the Dallas Cowboy offense back on the field after a 16-yard return. Pallor with a terrific first half in which he hit 19 of 25 for 198 yards. Next Sunday, great NFL doubleheader action beginning with the NFL Today. In the first game, many of you will see Chicago, New England. There are the other games on the menu. Rams, New Orleans, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Green Bay, Buffalo. And then most of you will watch Minnesota, San Francisco in the second game. Others will watch the Giants and Detroit. First and 10, Dallas. There's the up and down set. Newsom and Walker in the backfield. Herschel Walker 66 yards in the ground in the first half. Play fake. And Pallor pumps and is nailed. Second sack today. And he had been sacked just 5 times in the first 7 games.
And then, of course, when they went to the Chicago game, they took advantage of him, got 5 sacks on him. Now, that play, though, I'll say if I'm the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, I'll accept that sack because he didn't throw the football into coverage. He said, I'll accept the sack, and we'll just reset it again. Randall Cunningham calling for some help. He says, hey, look, you guys upstairs can see something better than I can. Tell me what to do down here.
Second down and 14. 8:43 remaining in the ball in the third quarter. Play fake again to Herschel Walker, and Pallor going deep left side. Man wide open. Kelvin Martin, as once again they work on the rookie Eric Allen.
And once again, you know, they're working that sideline. Very difficult for if your cornerback is playing inside for coverage on a receiver, and that receiver is breaking to the sideline. It makes it very difficult for a young cornerback to play it. And there you see him. He's inside. Now, watch Martin break back to the outside, right to the sideline, and he doesn't get that help from down deep from the linebacker.
Eric Allen, that's the 9th time they've thrown on him today. Second-round draft choice out of Arizona State. First and 10, Dallas after a 17-yard gain. Ball at the 45. Cowboys up 20-10. Walker gets the handoff and tests left guard. That's a gain of 3 out to the 48-yard line. Total yards in the first quarter. Look at the Cowboy total yardage, 134 to 42, but it's evened out since then.
Yeah, Philadelphia has really gotten it cranked up offensively, and the result of Randall Cunningham, as we said earlier, getting time to set up back there, look downfield, and take advantage of some opportunities. Now, Steve Pallor's opportunity here is to put some more points on the board and try to pull away from the Eagles if possible.
Second down and 6. Pallor scrambles right, pulls up, tries to get by Joyner, and does. And Pallor has a first down for the Cowboys at the 40, where, as Randall Cunningham will do, so also will Steve Pallor.
Now, you know what happens is he rolls up, comes around that corner, doesn't see a linebacker there because Joyner had already missed him. He says, hey, I can roll with it now. I can go downfield a little bit. But he does a smart thing, too. He gets out of bounds before he takes the shot.
Pallor had his best game of the year in the Monday night encounter against New Orleans. And the Cowboys feel like losing that one as they did at the gun cost them emotionally for the next 2 weeks.
There's no question when you've got 20-some guys that 1 or 2 years experience to lose a game like that, it hurts.
Deep handoff to Walker. He's jammed up by Seth Joyner. No gain, maybe a foot or 2.
Now, you asked what's the best way to stop Herschel Walker? With some help. Get some other folks up there to help you out a little bit. This guy's playing good football for the Eagles, Seth Joyner is.
I found what Buddy Ryan had to say about Seth Joyner quite interesting yesterday. He said a lot of folks are talking about Carl Banks as one of the better linebackers in the league. I think Seth Joyner is a better linebacker than Carl Banks.
And that's because he can play his defense like he likes it played.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd get a vote from everybody else about that.
I got to tell you a funny story about Buddy Ryan. He always used to take Alka-Seltzer before games. And what do you think he's doing now that he's a head coach? Same thing.
Second and 9, Pallor. Deep in the middle for Chandler, incomplete. And Joyner was right with him and helped harass him. Then Wes Hopkins was behind him. It'll be 3rd and 9.
Now, what you're looking at now is an emotional turnaround in terms of the way the game has been flowing, and that is the emotion has turned in the favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. This was a critical drive, though, because now if they can keep that level up and stop the Cowboys right here, they're in great shape. If they allow the Cowboys to come down and get a score, then the whole thing goes back up for grabs.
Cowboys have moved from their own 31 to the Eagles' 40, so they haven't been stopped yet. It is 3rd and 9. Eagles are blitzing. Ballure off balance, caught somehow short of the first down at the 31. Andre Waters makes the tackle on Ray Alexander, who made a nice grab in traffic.
He did, but, you know, he's helping out his quarterback because he starts working back towards the quarterback, recognizing the scramble situation.
Now, interesting, it's 4th and less than a yard at the 30-yard line. And will Landry go for it? Does he think Herschel Walker can get the first down? Or somebody?
And he's sending in the tight ends, the 2 tight ends.
Yep, they're not going to go for the field goal. So here come the Eagles with their goal line defense. 4th and a foot. And the Cowboys use a timeout.
You know, when you start thinking about what that could mean later on, you saw what happened in the first half when they burned those timeouts. That play should have been ready to go right away, so that way you keep things rolling and you don't have to burn that timeout. But Tom Landry says, hey, it's important for me here to stop and make sure we're successful on this play.
Go back on that 3rd and 9 as Steve Ballure looked for Ray Alexander. Here's Alexander to the left.
Now he's getting that bump up front by Allen. Now watch him turn back inside. He recognizes now, though, that Steve Ballure is running around, so he's working back towards the football, and he gets a great shot there from Philadelphia, from 2 Philadelphia defenders, one of them being Eric Allen.
And Andre Waters is the guy who got down
and really
put
delivered on the bottom of his feet. Now the question always is forward progress. Where did he get hit from and where did he end up at? But it's apparent that he didn't end up over in first down territory. He needed to cross the 30-yard line was the key, and he never did it. Here's Jim Merkin back in there. He's getting all excited. He's getting worked up. Well, do this, do that. I got my 300-pounders up front.
Go back and take a look at that 3rd down play and watch the 45-second clock behind Ballure. See it? 2 seconds, and he still hasn't snapped the ball. And that's been a problem for the Cowboys this afternoon. They chose 2 seconds. They have, as everybody in the country, I think, knows, a very complex offense. Now, no complexity involved in this. 4th and a foot at the 30. And for some reason, Dick Hantak sends them back to the huddle.
And see, now this hurts the offense because you want to get out there and attack, and you can't because they're holding you back in the huddle, and you want to get up there and go after it. Because you know what the play is, and you know what you've got to do.
See if the Cowboys have Chandler, Folsom, and Cosby, all 3 tight ends in. Or do they have a go with a wide receiver set? When they lined up, it looked like they were going with a wide receiver. Now, Bob White, number 7, or Darrell Smith, rather, number 79 is in. And it's 3 tight ends against the goal line offense of the Eagles. In the eye, Walker the deep back. 4th and a foot. Herschel Walker, that's real close. And I don't believe he got it. No, sir.
Vern, short yardage situation, a yard or less to go. Why do you line up in the eye where your running back that's going to carry the ball is 8 yards in back of you? Yeah, he gets to build up a little momentum, but the other thing is, though, is the defensive line has an opportunity to make penetration and stop him before he gets to the line of scrimmage, and he can try to jump or try to run through somebody. The key is run out of one of your brown or your red sets and just hand it off real quick.
They didn't even have to measure. Cunningham slips the ball to Anthony Toney. Fumble. A scramble at the 32, and let's see, the Cowboys say they've got it. The Eagles have fumbled only 3 times, 2 times all year. And this is only the 3rd fumble this season they have lost.
Cunningham, now he's going to come back and hand off to Toney. Toney tries to go over the left side, stops, puts on the brakes there, turns back, and there you see the tackle by Jeffcoat, and that ball just simply slips out of his hand. A little help there from Danny Noonan, but it really slipped out.
Ron Burton came up with it. First time since the Houston and Minnesota games that the Eagles have lost a fumble. They led the league, or still do, in least number of lost fumbles. It's now 3. And the Cowboys have gotten 2 turnovers, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. Ball at the 33, 1st and 10. Reggie White lines up over center, over Tom Rafferty. Newsome in motion. Walker out of a tackle to the 24-yard line. A gain of 8.
Eagles jump into that 46. That's when you see Reggie White go over to center. And then what happens there is the Dallas Cowboys just split it open over on that right side. And when that happens, there's nobody back there because all the linebackers are up on the line of scrimmage trying to make the stop there.
That's a gain of 8. 2nd down and 2. Walker with 80 rushing yards. The Eagles have 26.
We said earlier that they have to get the ball in the hands of Herschel Walker. Well, they've been effective at both getting it into other people's hands and at the opportune time getting it into Herschel's hands.
2nd down. And again, the deep handoff to Walker. He's hit behind the line and knocked down. This time it's Clyde Simmons, number 96.
Well, you know, we talk a lot about Reggie White, but this guy's been playing some good football for the Philadelphia Eagles as well. What he does is he gives you that good pressure on that defensive inside, and suddenly you can't go outside like you really want to. And we said earlier, well, gee, how come they're not testing those corners a little bit? Well, that's one of the reasons why Clyde Simmons.
3rd and 4. Cowboys are 3 of 7 on 3rd down conversions, trying to convert this turnover into something. Ballore from the shotgun. And the Eagles are blitzing. Ballore reads the hot receiver, Kelvin Martin. What a catch! Oh, boy! A terrific catch by the 5'9" Kelvin Martin. A gain of 12, 1st down.
Well, you know, he does so many things so well for the Cowboys. You look at all the special teams plays and everything else. Ballore, great job of getting the ball away on the blitz. Now watch this. Reach out, both feet in, tip tap there, and he is in for the excellent reception on the sideline.
For Kelvin Martin today, that's his 6th catch for 71 yards.
And he's still playing with that cast on his left hand, and he makes a great grab like that.
1st and 10 at the 15. Backs in the eye again. Martin, the motion man. And the draw play to Herschel Walker. Down to 12. Tackle made by Seth Joyner.
Mike Fitch was in the backfield and had an opportunity to make the play back there, but really got pushed out of the way just as he's reaching in to make the tackle. Now, let's not lose the idea of this emotional struggle that we've been talking about. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, you had the opportunity there. You stop the Cowboys on 4th and short. Then you get the ball back. Now you drop it on the ground and you lose the fumble. Suddenly now the defense is depressed because they've been out on that field too long.
2nd down. Hot receiver again. Man open in the end zone. Tipped away. Roynell Young, a terrific recovery.
Well, that was a great play by Roynell. He knew he was beaten. He just reached up at the last second, tips the ball away, and makes a Pro Bowl type play. And here you're going to see just the end of it. Now watch as that ball is delivered. Watch him just reach up and slap it away just like he's playing basketball. That's being on top of things. That's what the difference is between a young cornerback and one that's been around the corner a few times.
Now on 3rd and 7, will they go back at Roynell Young, or will they attack Eric Allen again as they have most of the ball game?
I see Todd Bell, number 52, coming out, which is their pass defense linebacker. So I have to think that they're going to go back over this side, come down to number 21, Eric Allen, and test him out.
No shotgun. Ballore back, looks left, just gets rid of it. Alexander can't hang on. They went at Allen with Alexander, and that'll bring on the field goal unit after the incomplete pass. Ruzek has hit 2 of 2.
And the other thing, too, is now he's going to put another 3. He's going to try to put another 3 on the board. Yeah, they didn't get the 7, but they'll take the 3 now. They've burned up some more of the clock.
Clock now down to 3:49 to go 3rd quarter. Boy, you're right. You talked about the emotion of that defensive 4th down stand, and then the first play, they're back on the field.
That's right, and that really takes some gas out of you.
30-yard effort for Ruzek, who's 2 of 2 this afternoon. And 6 of 12 for the year. Ballore will hold. Ruzek kicks it. Got it. So the youngster who was 22 of 25 a year ago, but has been in a horrible slump this season, is now a perfect 3 of 3 for the day.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it, so it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. The lift and cut shaving system from Norelco. We made close comfortable.
What do you think of the Ford Festiva? It's big. It's small. Sort of a big smallness.
Cutest little thing.
Festiva gives you features like a roomy interior, 660 powertrain warranty, sometimes even your own parking space. So it's big and small.
How about Festiva's price? It's small.
Small.
It's nothing.
Ford Festiva. Call it big, call it small. Call it yours for only $56.99.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Xerox presents the Great American Torture Test, Alaska.
Xerox.
Death Valley.
Xerox.
City traffic.
Xerox.
Coast to coast to prove under the most extreme conditions you can't buy a better antifreeze coolant than Xerox. No matter where you drive.
The punishing defense of the Vikings. Can it stop the unstoppable Roger Craig and the 49ers? Next Sunday on CBS Sports.
3:46 to go, third quarter. Both teams with field goals here in the third stanza of this ball game. It was 20-7 at the half. Cowboys yielded a field goal, then drove to the Eagle 30-yard line. Stopped on fourth down, but Anthony Toney fumbled in the first play. Dallas was able to get a Roger Ruzek field goal out of that to increase their lead once again to 13 points. 23-10. 66,309 are here today. Only 319 no-shows. High kick. Sean Beals running start at the 7. And he is grabbed by an arm by Steve Diossi, who did a nice job on the special teams to make that tackle. 19-yard return, and another little breakout of things. Randall Cunningham back on the field.
Now, you know, the thing that surprises me about Randall Cunningham is he's a quarterback that wears a mouthpiece. Look at that. You can see he's been under a little pressure today. 4 sacks, 8 carries, 3 knockdowns, 1 batted ball, and 1 interception. That's, you know, that's tough to have a great day when those kinds of things are happening to you.
Cunningham is 15 of 22 for 167 yards. Keith Jackson, his primary receiver, and he's back to throw on first down. Deep left side, Robert Williams defending, and the pass is incomplete as they tested Williams down the left side.
There you see that mouthpiece. Most quarterbacks and most players in the National Football League don't wear mouthpieces, but he's a guy that likes his choppers, and he keeps them in. I'm sure all the dentists around the country are going, right on, Randall.
Got a great set and look at choppers.
That's right.
Likes his eyes, too. He's got that mask on.
Oh, I think the day is going to come when everybody's going to have that clear mask. Because,
do you really?
Yeah, it protects your eyes, because a lot of times you'll get those fingers in your eyes or very close to them, and it gives you that extra measure of protection.
Second down and 10. 3:32 to go, third quarter. Quick drop left side, mix up with Greg Garrity, and it'll be 3rd and 10. Now let's go back to our New York studios for an update. Here's Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Vern, Vinny Testaverde of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has thrown 5 interceptions today against Minnesota. That is now 21 for the year, and at Miami, Vern, when he started for 2 years, only 24 total interceptions. Also, Atlanta leads the Giants by 10. Back to Vern.
23-10, 3:29 to go, 3rd and 10 for the Eagles. High snap, controlled by Cunningham. Again, he goes left, and again there's a mix-up, and there is no flag. Feet got tangled at the 42, Garrity and Ron Francis. And the Eagles will call on John Telchik. Watch Greg Garrity And Ron Francis left side.
Now, this is a timing pattern, so watch Garrity, 86. He's working against Francis, 38. And he goes down. He's trying to make his break back there, but the ball's been already delivered in the air, and Greg Garrity finds himself on the ground when the ball's at the spot.
That brings on John Telchik, who had a 70-yard punt to open the ball game. Another fine effort by Telchik. Kelvin Martin, fair catch at the 30-yard line. And Terry Hogue was right in his face. A 44-yard punt by Telchik. Cowboys have the ball again.
All across America, companies are declaring liberty for all. A revolutionary idea from Liberty Mutual Insurance, where employees can now save on all their auto, home, and life insurance through the convenience of payroll deductions. Liberty for all. It's freedom from bills and paperwork, and it can save you money.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
When you move with Ryder, think of the unpacking as practice, because only Ryder will enroll you in one of the country's biggest discount shopping services, absolutely free. Which means you can buy almost anything for your new home at some of the best prices around. So after you unpack, you can unwind. Move yourself with Ryder and settle in with the savings. Ryder, we're there at every turn.
The new Remington Electroblade vibrating blade system has been an amazing success for those who prefer shaving with a blade. Electroblade's vibrating twin blades glide so easily you'll get the closest, smoothest blade shave you've ever imagined or your money back.
I had to try this to believe it. Denerex tingles. Tells me it's doing more. Selsun Blue, no tingle.
Both Denerex and regular Selsun Blue have dandruff medicine, but Denerex adds an extra anti-itch medicine.
So long, Selsun Blue. Hello, Denerex.
3:17 remaining third quarter. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Jiggets at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia as we reach the midway point of the 1988 season. These two teams in a struggle, a grudge match after bitterness erupted in the two teams last year. Cowboys won the strike game 41-22. Eagles won up here 37-20. Dallas leads it right now 23-10, 3:17 to go third quarter. Glenn Titensor is in at left guard replacing Nate Newton, and Herschel Walker is wrapped up by number 99, Jerome Brown. Walker closing in on a 100-yard day. He's got over 80 on the ground now.
Then one of the things the Cowboys told us last night, they said, hey, look, we recognize that number 92, Reggie White, is an exceptional football player, and we're not going to be foolish enough to think that we're going to run at him. We're going to try to run away from him. Yeah, he may get you in pursuit, but they're taking care of him with some backside blocking and that zone protection that they have. As a result, he really hasn't been a big factor in the run game against the Cowboys today and in the passing game because they've doubled him both times.
Now he comes over Rafferty, second down and 10. That's a blown play. And that's the third sack for Steve Pellure today. And again, Pellure himself had been sacked only 5 times. The Cowboys did get to Danny White, or the Bears did 5 times last week after Pellure went out with a concussion. Danny White, by the way, is back on injured reserve now and did not make the trip with the Cowboys. Third in a bunch.
Now, this defensive line of the Eagles has been called one of the better ones in the National Football League. Now is the time to prove it. Now is the time, if you can put pressure on the quarterback, get the sacks, and force some interceptions, that's when you really are the best defensive line in football. And also for the Cowboys, it's a particularly good challenge now.
Third and 14. No blitz, stunts by the defensive line, and Pellure flushed out, comes across the middle to Everett Gay, and he should have enough to move the chain. Talk about finding an alternate receiver.
Boy, I tell you what, the other thing, though, Steve Pellure is rolling right, throws back across his body to Everett Gay, who's in the middle of the field, and Pellure is all the way over near the numbers when he makes the pass.
That's a third and 14, and I think, yes, indeed, Everett Gay does have enough for the first down.
Yeah, now watch this. Pellure drops back, sees it's getting kind of busy in there, so he decides to exit stage right. Now he looks downfield, and he finds Gay thrown back across the body, as we said, and that is an exceptionally difficult pass to throw, and Gay makes a nice reception downfield.
First and 10, Dallas at the 41. The Cowboys now 5 of 10 on third down conversions, and they continue to work on the clock, which shows 1:20 to go in the quarter. Walker doesn't get much help. Boy, Todd Bill did a great job of coming in and forcing him outside.
He really did. And what happened with Timmy Newsom tried to cut him down there. Todd, good athlete, jumps over the cut block and then forces Herschel back into the backfield. He can't turn the corner then.
That is the 22nd carry for Herschel Walker for 81 yards.
It's a good work day for Herschel. You know, he's one of those guys, though, that the longer the game goes on, the better he gets at it. You know, he just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
2nd and 10. Alexander comes left. Kelvin Martin goes right. Pelor now 23 of 32 for 248 yards. There we go again.
Timeout. Dallas. That is their 2nd timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
40-second timeout, and Steve Pelor might not want to go to the sideline and talk to Landry. He might choose to, well, he's going to do it.
Not a good place to be, though. You're going to catch some heat, but you know what it usually is again, with the complications and the formations, if everybody comes in and they're not quite aware of what the deal is, then they have to call a timeout because they're getting that play in from the sideline. He's got to figure it out, decipher the signals, give it to the line, then they got to do that shift, and then everybody else has to shift, and it takes a lot of time up. And particularly when you get the defense moving around on you a little bit, then you say, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should audible here. And that's when the doubt falls in. And when in doubt, don't call timeout.
If you did join us late, the Cowboys had to use all 3 of their timeouts because of problems with the 45-second clock in the first quarter of the ball game. And they've now used 2 of their 3 in the 3rd quarter of the 2nd half. They have a 2nd down and 10, leading 23-10 with 1:13 to go, 3rd quarter. Thornton Chandler is the motion man. Pelor, short drop, goes for Chandler right side, and Andre Waters is right at his waist. Andre Waters, once a free agent, leading the team in tackles with 70. That is not terribly unusual to see your strong safety leading the team in tackles.
And he's a tough guy, too. He's one of those safeties that, you know, if you're hanging around, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. In the field of play, you better buckle up because he's coming after you.
Last time the Cowboys had a 3rd and long, it was 3rd and 14 a moment ago. They got a pass to Everett Gay. Now it's 3rd down and 8 in the final 40 seconds of the 3rd quarter. No blitz by the Eagles. Pelor left side as they work on Allen, and he overthrows Ray Alexander, who was double covered by Eric Allen and Wes Hopkins. And that'll bring on Mike Saxon. Send deep Mark Konechny. Clock down to 27 seconds, 3rd quarter. Cowboys are at home next week against Phoenix. They may have the toughest schedule in the National Football League this year.
It's very difficult, but when you look at the Eagles as well, their schedule is awfully difficult. You know, both of these teams, you figured maybe they were going to get a break this year with the scheduling, but no way.
Philadelphia at home against Atlanta next week, and then they've got the Rams coming in. Whoops, there's motion in the offensive line. They got set. They did get set, but Saxon line drives it. Now the flag is down. The ball will come to a rest at the 9-yard line, but the Cowboys might get the penalty on the delayed flag. No, it's holding Dallas. Holding Dallas, and there's an altercation down at the 20-yard line that's quickly broken up. A 48-yard punt will be wiped out.
That's the Tom Landry upset mode.
How you like the mod glasses, though? Huh?
Yeah, he's getting
change. Too many days in the sun.
It's falling into fashion, though. I like it.
Yeah.
Holding, offense, number 31, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 4th down.
Billy Owens with the holding call. So now, instead of giving the Eagles the ball at the 9-yard line, they may be the recipient of a terrific break here, because despite the line drive punt by Saxon, it did get a Cowboy roll.
Now the key is to see how Philadelphia takes advantage of this new opportunity.
Mark Konechny moves up to the 25-yard line. And Saxon has it nearly blocked. Konechny back, out of a tackle, and can't get out of the other one, but they gain 15 yards after the 10-yard penalty. A 43-yard punt But instead of having the ball at the 9, they've got it at the 25, the tackle made by Billy Bates.
Okay, Vern, now you're in the offensive huddle for the Philadelphia Eagles. What are you thinking about now?
Where's Keith Jackson?
That's right. And working those sidelines, saving that clock as much as you possibly can, because time is getting short here. Now we're just about to end the third quarter and going into the fourth. You work the sidelines, you just try to stay out to your receivers, throw short, because that's where you've been successful at.
Jackson tight to the right, the wide receivers are left. Final play of the third quarter. Cunningham goes right side for Jackson, wide open, and behind him, he had turned Bill Bates completely around.
He turned Bill Bates completely around, and I think he faked out Randall Cunningham. Cunningham was expecting him to turn around and come back to the outside. He got excited with the move that he was able to put on Bates and stayed with it. There he gets a nice escape off the line of scrimmage, gets past Burton. Now he sets up Billy Bates. Now see, he turns inside, but that ball is thrown outside, and it was clear that he was supposed to turn outside.
You think some of these players aren't multidimensional? Keith Jackson out of Oklahoma plays the cello.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to play the violin and look like a girl's instrument.
One of his dreams is to play with the Philadelphia Orchestra under Ricardo Moody. Here's Cunningham, deep left side. Double coverage, knocked away. Terrific defensive job by Robert Williams. And Cunningham has misfired on his last 6 passes.
And it's apparent that Robert Williams is in a little pain. He's holding his ribs here, but watch the play that he makes here. He's got Garrity going down one side here. Now watch him just jump up and tap that ball away, hits him right on the face mask, and then goes to the ground.
Yeah, I said terrific play, and then we watched him miss the ball.
Yeah, it hit him in the face, though. You know, it's a good spot.
This is CBS.
Get behind the wheel of a hot, new 1989 Pontiac Grand Prix and rev up with savings. Factory savings up to $615 on options at your Pontiac Pace Centers. With Car of the Year styling and performance, 89 Grand Prix with V6, air, stereo, and more is priced from under $13,900. Make your best deal now and get $500 factory cash back on select new 89 Grand Prix. The cars that Pontiac guarantees. See your Pontiac Pace Centers.
Another day dawns. But no one knows exactly what the day will bring. Not even the weatherman. And that being the case, it's well worth having the peace of mind only this card gives you. The one from Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Those who have it feel better than those who don't.
To prove that the Bella Pennsylvania Yellow Pages attracts business, I set out with Captain Vic. My ship was becalmed. His business was off.
I sought the elusive bounty.
He means day trippers.
I tied a mighty lure.
He placed an ad.
It shimmered like a great red pike.
He used a splash of color.
The Hershey blows. They've taken the bait. Man the net.
He thinks they're fish. That's adorable. Well, more proof.
The Bella Pennsylvania Yellow Pages is the one that works.
Bella Pennsylvania, a Bell Atlantic company.
Today's game, locally sponsored by Bella Pennsylvania Yellow Pages, the one that works.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. The good time, great.
3rd and 10 as we open the final quarter. Cunningham pumps once, goes across the middle, incomplete. Keith Jackson. He's going to argue that he was interfered with by Everson Walls.
But no way, that was good timing on Everson Walls' part. Number 24, he hit that leg just as the ball was being delivered. Now here you see number 88, that's Keith Jackson. Now watch him on the in pattern. He gives a little out fake there. Had Everson on the fake, but there, he's just there. Perfect timing on the play.
And Randall Cunningham has missed his last 7 passes in succession. Here's John Pilchick to punt. Another dandy punt. Kelvin Martin at the 30. Nice downfield play. William Frizzell made the tackle. His nickname is Lefty. He's called Lefty by Buddy Ryan because of his last name, Frizzell. Buddy Ryan knows a country singer named Lefty Frizzell. Here comes Pelor back on. 24 of 34 for 250. Cunningham has missed his last 7. He's 15 of 27 for 167.
And the other key there for Steve Pelor, no interceptions today. That's a big move for him when you start thinking about what's happened to him in ball games.
He has had interception problems in the 4th quarter, however. The Cowboys are -5 in turnovers in the 4th quarter. And as a team, they've thrown 6 interceptions in quarter number 4 this year. First and 10 Dallas. They lead it by 13. Play fake. Batted back and almost picked off. Oh, Clyde Simmons almost had one.
Look at it. He had visions of strolling in the end zone, getting a good spike and all the rest of that. Made a great play on it, but he just didn't get a hold of it and take it into the end zone.
He's had a dandy game.
He sure has. He's been playing very well. Left side of your screen, number 96. That's Clyde Simmons. Now watch him here. He doesn't take the fake on the play action. He simply reaches up and bats that Steve Pelluer pass down. And he just about had it and took it to the end zone. But, you know, those defensive linemen, they get so anxious when they see the ball up in the air and they say, gee, I can grab it, you know. They don't know how to catch.
There's the turnover story in the 4th quarter. The Eagles are +5, the Cowboys -5. That's for the season. Left side this time, incomplete. And a flag thrown on Eric Allen. Oh, wow. Who, me?
You know what the play should have really been called down on the line of scrimmage. Jerome Brown was held. He was dragged down, actually, on the line of scrimmage on that play. And he turned around and complained.
Defense, number 21.
Eric Allen on the penalty here. Pelluer over to the left side of your screen. Eric Allen there on the coverage, and he gets into the receiver way before that ball ever gets there. And I guess Ray Alexander just sat there and said, hey, I'll take that. You know, just give me the yardage.
That must be, Dan, at least 11 times now they've thrown at Allen.
Yeah, they've been picking on him. There's no question about it. But, you know, one of the things that happens is a guy like Allen, when I was reading an article about him earlier this week, he said, hey, look, I just make those adjustments. I don't let it, you know, dwell on it. I just keep trying to develop and learn things.
First and 10 at the 47. Cowboys up 23-10. And again, the play fake by Pelluer. He looks deep into zone coverage for Alexander, and Andre Waters makes a center field catch. Oh, that was a poor pass. Andre Waters, Pelluer never should have let it go because Waters and Allen had Alexander blanketed.
That's right. They had him on both sides. They bracketed him as he went down the field, and Andre Waters makes a beautiful reception right over the shoulder. Now watch Pelluer throw right down the middle of the field. He's got Alexander on the go pattern. Now watch Waters come in, and he just makes this one right over the shoulder. Now makes a nice little return here, heads up towards that sideline. Hey, he's got that ball handled kind of loosely, but watch him take off over there and get tackled on the sideline.
Jeep Cherokee is now exclusively available with 4-wheel anti-lock brakes. This exclusive anti-lock braking system automatically reacts to any road surface conditions. So in the event of a sudden stop, the response is controlled and immediate to all 4 wheels, a valuable option. But since Cherokee is a Jeep, it's not your only option.
Save up to $1,600 on select 1989 Jeep Cherokees.
Oktoberfest can be very boring, you know. Pa. Now, it's Coors Light Rocktoberfest! 31 days of rock and roll, parties, and Coors Light, the silver bullet, the beer that won't slow you down. Plus, there's posters of me and the guys at your store. October will never be boring again. Pa.
Here comes today's Duracell battery. And here's yesterday's. Today's are built to last up to 30% longer than the ones we made just a few years back. So you'll be guaranteed a long, happy life. Look for the new Duracell. C&D 4-packs.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. The good time, great taste of McDonald's. And by Coors Light, there's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now.
Back to play after the interception by Andre Waters. First turnover by the Cowboys today. Randall Cunningham has his team with a first down at the 25-yard line. Byers and Tony behind Cunningham. They'll slip it. Whoa, fumble. And Cunningham is squashed upon. Mix up on the handoff.
And a rather appropriate way to put it when Jeff Todt lands on you like that. Now, he turned around and tried to spin around and hand it off, but he's really putting it on his hip when he handed it off. And as a result, it just dropped to the turf.
That'll set up a 2nd down and 14. Garrity comes left. Keith Byers, the back, is split wide to the right side. Cowboys are caught shifting. And there's the bat back. Was that too tall?
Oh, yeah.
Of course it was too tall. That is the 77th knockdown of a pass. And that's only in the last 9 years because they didn't keep that stat before then.
That's right. He's the controlled defensive end for the Cowboys. His job is not really to penetrate so much as to play the policeman along the line of scrimmage and watch for draw plays. Now, what he does is he makes that penetration finally about 4 or 5 yards, jumps up in the air, and that's what he's trying to do is swat it down. And at 6'9", it's awfully difficult to get something over a guy like that, particularly when he jumps.
5 of his batted passes have been intercepted and 3 have been returned for touchdowns. 3rd and 14. Cunningham with time goes left for Byers, who drops it. It was a little bit behind him, but certainly catchable.
Randall Cunningham, young quarterback, is going through those little oscillations that you see in a quarterback's career sometimes, particularly when a guy is young. He's having a little trouble now. His back is against the wall, and he just can't seem to get it in gear in this 4th quarter so far.
Eagles this year have been unable to come from behind, as you can see, and they trail by 13 right now, 23-10 with 13:57 to go. Pelchik's punt. Boy, he's had a good day. That's another dandy. Kelvin Martin at the 31. And, oh, boy. No flag. David Little came rolling over the top. A 48-yard punt. And just a couple on the return. Scott Curtis made the tackle. Cowboys have the ball back.
When the clock strikes 6:30, babe, time to head for golden lights. It's a good time for the great taste dinner at McDonald's. It's Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
I'm like his worst nightmare. I keep coming back to win again and again.
The WBC champion, Canada's golden boy, Donnie Lalonde.
After this fight, he won't want to come back again.
The motivation, not 1, but 2 world championship belts in one night. November 7th, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. Leonard versus Lalonde in a full tilt battle for all the gold. Brought to you by Coors Extra Gold Draft.
Jeep Cherokee has available 4-wheel anti-lock brakes. The most powerful engine in its class. Full-time 4-wheel drive capability. And room for 5. Being superior in these areas makes Cherokee superior in these areas.
Save up to $1,600 on select 1989 Jeep Cherokees.
A perennial beast of the East, Penn State takes on the newfound power of Major Harris and 6th-ranked West Virginia next Saturday on CBS Sports.
The question before the jury is, did David Little get away with one on the punt return? Let's check Kelvin Martin and see.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. Now watch him in the middle of your screen. He's going to be number 89 in the white there. Now watch him. He takes off now, and he just dives down on Kelvin Martin, who's already down on the turf.
Keep in mind how many flags we had early in the game. A lot of whistles and not many lately. Tempo of play has settled down. Here's the handoff to Herschel Walker, right side, out near the 40-yard line. Another modest gain of about 3.
Yeah, but that's good game plan. In the 4th quarter now, you're ahead. Now you use your running backs, Herschel Walker and Timmy Newsome. Wear down that clock and wear down the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bob White has come in now for the Cowboys as Crawford Kerr limps off. He'd be the second guard on the bench. Nate Newton has also been replaced by Glenn Titensor. The Cowboys have been weak at tackle because of injuries, and now they've got their starting guards both out of the ball game. And Titensor and Bob White are in the lineup. 2nd and 7. Ballure, right side, Kelvin Martin. 7th catch, first down at the 50-yard line. Interesting story about Kelvin Martin, and Cowboy fans will recall this. He was a 3rd-round draft choice a year ago, but almost an unwanted 3rd-round draft choice. The Cowboys had tried to make a deal to get Stephen Baker. They tried to trade up in the draft and swing a deal with Denver to go in front of the Giants. Time expired. They didn't get it done. George Young of the Giants said, we take Stephen Baker.
Well, you know the old saying, some of the best deals are the ones that are never made.
And I think the Cowboys are quite content with Kelvin Martin now. 1st and 10 Dallas at the 50. They'll work on the clock with Herschel Walker. He comes right. Flag is down. Cowboys are going to get caught holding. And Mike Reichenbach might have been held. It's going to be holding Dallas. And it's either going to be on Kevin Gogan or Tom Rafferty.
Yeah, but the whole key there, if you're on that offensive line, is get away from the flag. See, because a lot of times these officials know they saw a holding, but they're not quite sure who it was. So as quick as you can get away from them and kind of disappear.
Holding. Offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
Yeah, see, the wily old veteran Rafferty, he ducked out of there, and they got young guy. Yeah, they got Gogan.
He looks around, he says, I'm out of here, okay.
Kevin Gogan, who was angry with his quarterback, Steve Pallure, because Pallure a week or so ago bought tickets to a concert in Dallas for his wide receivers.
And didn't buy them for the offensive line.
Right. Said he needs to think about us. 1st and 20, Dallas. 23-10, they lead it. How about that Atlanta lead over the Giants? Pallure back, left side, almost picked off. Another flag down. And we might have roughing the quarterback now. Nope. Pallure's up. There's just a wrestling match going on.
Yeah, I think it's Gogan who's down there on the turf. No, he's not. I'm sorry.
Reggie White. I expect that'll be holding Dallas.
Yeah, it was a nice takedown on him, too. It was very clean.
Holding Dallas. 1st and 30. Bob White was in the wrestling match.
Holding. Offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 1st down.
Watch Reggie White, number 92.
It's nice having fun at the old ballpark. Bull rush there, he just runs by Bob. But Bob does the key thing, though. Even if you get the holding penalty, don't let that guy tee off on your quarterback. That's the most important thing you can do. And yeah, the defensive linemen get frustrated, but you know they're frustrated because they can't hit your quarterback. That's the idea.
Cowboys now with a 1st and 30, and still 12 minutes to go in the game, and the crowd trying to urge this Eagle defense back into it. 1st down and 30. Newsom in motion. And they'll hand it off to Herschel Walker, and he won't get a thing.
When you look at the Cowboy offensive linemen pull out on a play like that, they ran that play, and they really weren't committed to it. You could see it when they tried to pull out and throw their blocks. They're just kind of pulling up out there. If you're going to run that counter OT or that counter tray, you've got to sell this thing and really punish those guys. Now, watch the backside guard and tackle. Really don't see anybody up there putting a shoulder on anybody. It's really soft blocking at the point of attack, and as a result, Herschel Walker almost gets killed at the corner.
I have seen the Washington Redskins look a little better executing that play.
And you see Jim Ergenbeck, he's seen better execution by his lineman, too. You saw him shaking his head there.
2nd down and 30. No gain for Walker. He's now 84 yards on 24 carries. Pallure with a short drop, right side. Chandler nailed by Seth Joyner. Buddy Ryan might be right about Seth Joyner.
He's all over it. I tell you what, as soon as a receiver comes into his area of responsibility, he's on him like sweat.
I like that.
That's being on somebody, too.
3rd and 27. Clock running with 10:49 to go.
Now, emotionally, again, you start thinking about where the Eagles might be in their frame of mind now. They've been able to bottle up the Cowboys so far in this quarter. Now, if they can stop them here, get the ball back, and get some kind of a score out of the offense, they're right back in the thing, and they've got that up feeling again.
3rd and 27. Cowboys are -6 in turnovers in the 4th quarter this year. Pallure has thrown 1 interception in this quarter already. Here's a screen pass to Herschel Walker, and that's going to gain a bunch. It will not be enough for the 1st down, however. He's down at the 44-yard line by Roynell Young.
Yeah, but that was a stroke of genius on the part of the offensive team of the Cowboys. Now you know you're going to get that real hard upfield rush. You throw that middle screen to the halfback, who's just nestled in there behind your offensive line. And they gave him some great blocking up front.
So Saxon comes on, and in the back of your mind, keep in mind that bonus that he gets for leading the league with punts down inside the 20. He should have this one, unless he overkicks Mark Konechny. Saxon has really perfected this art of pooch kicking. And on 4th down, he sends it high, and that may be too strong. Well, good downfield coverage from Francis, who jumps up and downs it at the 1. Oh, what a great play by Ron Francis. No touchback. That's down at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, and for that, Ron Francis ought to at least get a grand of that bonus. That was a beautiful play. Turned right around, settled down on the goal line, turned his back to the end zone, and grabbed the football and downed it.
Here's one of those subtle things, Dan, in this game. As you look at Francis, the last 2 plays, they were facing 3rd and 27. They get a 21-yard pass to Walker. Great field position, and then this punt by Saxon and the play by Francis.
And that's the key, too. Francis had Saxon had enough backspin on that ball to bounce it up off the AstroTurf, and Francis makes the real smart play down on the goal line. But you're right. Suddenly they take themselves out of the hole and put Philly in the hole.
Randall Cunningham and the Eagles from their own 1-yard line. Keith Byers out to the 5. Nice, safe play. Either he's got a heck of a headache or it's a little warmer than we thought. he's trying to make the All-Madden team, and
that's right.
And John's not here. Cunningham from the end zone, left side, caught. Garrity. That's a 1st down at the 20-yard line. Nice play by Greg Garrity.
Good possession type receiver out of Penn State. Greg Garrity fools you because he doesn't, he gives you little subtle moves off the line of scrimmage, and he does enough subtle moving here to give Randall Cunningham an opportunity to get him the football. Throwing out of his own end zone over to the left side of your screen. Garrity wide open, breaking to that sideline, trying to save that clock now.
He stops the clock with 9:02 to go in the ball game. A 1st down at the 20. Cunningham from the shotgun. Cowboys have not blitzed defensively much at all today. They stunt defensively in the line, and Cunningham rolls left. Slides out of bounds, and there are no... Now the flag comes. A real late flag. It was so late, I'm wondering if they're going to throw it on the Cowboys for a late hit. It might have been something else.
Well, I think the thing is, when the quarterback is out of bounds, he's obviously out of bounds, you have to pull up. And they really started diving from about near the numbers.
Gary Cobb made the tackle.
Defense, number 59.
And also got the penalty.
Yep.
He had the opportunity to pull up, and he didn't. He rolled over into the sideline on Randall Cunningham. You just can't get away with that. There's one thing to make the play in the field of play, but he really didn't do that. Now, Cobb, number 59, recognizes the quarterback is going out of bounds. He's going into the slide as well, and then you see him laying up on him. You cannot do that, and particularly when you're inside the bench. I know he used to play for the Eagles. Maybe he thought he was going to go back over there and get some water.
What fooled me was the delay in the flag coming out of there, and it finally did. And now the Eagles are at the 41-yard line. Just a moment ago, 3 plays ago, they were at their own 1. Cunningham back. Drills it. Nice defensive play. No flag. Intended for Jackson. And Everson Walls got right in front of him.
Well, I tell you what, Everson Walls makes some great plays, and they kind of go unnoticed a lot of the time. But, a regular cornerback, that play would have been completed on somebody. Everson Walls, wily veteran, Pro Bowler and all the rest of that, makes a great play, but makes it look so easy.
He's got only 1 interception so far, but I think the major reason is because he hasn't seen many passes his way.
Right. When you look at the passes he's had to defense, his numbers are way down this year.
2nd down and 10. A bit of a high snap, and again the stunt by the defensive line. Cunningham pulls up, lets it go deep for Carter. Zone coverage. Terrific play by Manny Hendricks. The one-time basketball player from Utah had excellent coverage on Chris Carter.
He recognized the fast break coming, and he stayed with it all the way down the field. Cunningham goes straight down the field to Chris Carter, puts it up, so gets some air underneath of it. Carter now, watch him reach out, try to make the reception, but Hendricks comes over and puts that hand up there just to block his vision. That's all you got to do at that last second. And here's the last second of it again. Now watch, Hendricks' hand comes up and blocks Carter's vision right there. Beautiful play by Manny Hendricks.
Randy White comes into the lineup now. Manny Hendricks drifts back. Nickel defense, 3rd and 10. 8:42 to go. Cowboys up 23-10. They led at one point 20-0. And again, no blitz. Cunningham, nobody open. Scrambles, has room. A lot of room. And there will be no penalty this time as Bill Bates allows Randall Cunningham to scoot out of bounds after a 15-yard gain on 3rd and 10.
It's just as effective as a pass downfield when your quarterback's able to get out and move like that. And Randall Cunningham recognizes that's a big part of his offensive scheme, but yet still he's got to be judicious when he uses it.
Philadelphia's last 4 possessions, 3 plays and a punt each time until now. And keep in mind, this drive started at the 1-yard line.
Again, they were put in a hole by the great play by Ron Francis, downing the ball on the goal line. Now they've been able to get out of there.
8:33 remaining in the ball game. Eagles trail 23-10 with a first down. Cunningham left side. Garrity made the catch, and he makes the grab at the 37-yard line. Robert Williams defending.
Greg Garrity's one of those receivers that makes all the defenders mad because they say he's not running that fast, but he's still making the receptions.
Eagles are going without the huddle, fighting the clock and trying to conserve time. 8:10 to go. They trail by 13 points. Left side again. Behind Garrity, he can't hang on. Greg Garrity is the answer to a terrific trivia question. Cowboy fans know the answer to another trivia question. Who caught Roger Staubach's last pass? The answer was Herb Scott, the offensive lineman. Who caught Terry Bradshaw's last pass? Number 86, Greg Garrity.
And he, by the way, he went to high school with my wife, so he's a member of the family in a way, in a manner of speaking.
Aha. 3rd and 3. I know Bradshaw didn't go to high school with your wife. He's older than that.
I promised him I would cover it a little bit today.
Cunningham back across the middle. It's caught by Tony. First down at the 27. What a drive by the Eagles with 7:50 to go in the game.
They really got back on that emotional roller coaster. Now they're taking it on the upswing. And what this does now is it says to Dallas's defense, you guys been out there on that field a long time. Aren't you getting a little tired?
And again, they go without the clock. And again, no blitz. And Cunningham wings it, rolls out, pulls up, and is in trouble. Finally dropped for a sack. It'll officially be called a sack at the 27-8-yard line. Danny Noonan got him.
Well, he looks like, the Houdini of quarterbacks. He's back there, he's trapped, moves out, he fakes people out, he gets back to the line of scrimmage, or almost does. It's just unbelievable what he can do in that pocket.
Again, the no-huddle offense. Looks like Sam Weich's team. Deep right side. Incomplete. Michael Downs pulled up lame as he went over to try and cover Chris Carter. And Downs is limping as he reaches the 10-yard line.
Remember, he had that pulled groin before, and I'm sure that's probably what's bothering him again. So he went up to jump for that ball.
Downs is looking at the bench, might be asking for help. And he's not getting any so far. Billy Owens is ready to come in. And there's Downs, who had a pulled groin and almost didn't play last week. Now Owens comes in, and Downs will leave.
As you can believe, Randall Cunningham was looking over there and going, hey, this might be an opportunity.
He might still be looking there. He's looking at a 10th round draft choice, a rookie, Billy Owens. 3rd and 11. Across the middle, fires, caught, first down. At the 7-yard line, 1st and goal. A gain of 20 on 3rd and 12.
Now, this is, again, we talked about that emotional level and where it's at. Now the Philadelphia Eagles are pumped up. They got an opportunity to go in and change the complexion of this game now. Watch. Right here, Randall Cunningham fires in to keep Byers. Byers thought that he wasn't touched there on the play, but clearly he was, because he gets up and takes off to the end zone. But he made a beautiful ground-level reception.
Turned Ron Francis around on that play. Shotgun on 1st and goal from the 7. 6.5 to go in the game. Again, no blitz. Cunningham fires deep in the end zone, incomplete. Carter goes up, and it's knocked away by Hendricks.
You know, Chris Carter's been involved with a lot of passes today that have just been out of his reach. And you got to believe that sooner or later he's going to get one and he's going to score on you. But they're working on that corner over there because they believe that Chris Carter is one of those guys that when he gets in the end zone, he's very effective for you.
How do you explain this game? The 3 possessions prior to this one, Philadelphia had 3 plays and a punt. Stautner urging his team on. The defensive coordinator. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 7. They'll try to draw up the middle. Anthony Tony. Touchdown!
Great second effort on the part of Anthony Toney. He just, you know, when a running back gets down here, you have to have the kind of guy that can smell the end zone, really has that second drive and desire to get in there. And that's what Toney displayed on that play.
Zendejas with a very important extra point. Good. 99 yards in 14 plays, and they used only 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
Good solid draw blocking up front. Toney just punishes the guys on the defensive line and does the rest on second effort, takes it in the end zone for 6 points.
Eagles are back. They trail by 6.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield define the position of cornerback. The ability of this pair to prevent the opposition from penetrating the end zone is legendary. Among their peers, they're acknowledged as 2 of the best covermen in the league. 2 straight Pro Bowl starts is testimony to the respect Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon generate. Recognition that is a result of the drive and talent that make Minifield and Dixon the best they can be.
Let's go, McManus!
A couple times I wondered, what'd you get yourself into, McManus? And then, it all kind of came together.
There's no telling what you can do.
Okay, McManus. Go.
Especially when you have somebody who really believes you can do it.
Be all that you can be in an edge of life in the Army.
On our way back to the stadium, I'm Brent Musburger in New York with a reminder that next Saturday our college football coverage continues from Morgantown, West Virginia. The unbeaten Mountaineers. Joe Paterno hopes to salvage a disappointing season by knocking off unbeaten West Virginia. The Mountaineers are dreaming of a national championship now behind their talented sophomore quarterback, Major Harris. Yesterday, he threw for 3, ran for 2 more. It's at 2:30 Eastern. Now let's send you back to the stadium.
Anthony Toney caps a 99-yard drive with a 7-yard run on the draw play. And the Philadelphia Eagles, stymied for the entire second half, have now gotten right back in this, and they trail by only 6. Luis Zendejas will kick it deep. Burbage and Martin wait for it. And they won't get it. As it goes out of bounds at the 10.
Cowboys will take it on the 35.
By the kickers, by rule, the ball is placed on the 35-yard line.
Now, tiny little things, Dan, that happen in football games that sometimes get forgotten. Go back to the first half. The Cowboys, out of timeouts, put together a terrific drive after Philadelphia had scored, but they had no timeouts, couldn't stop the clock. And Pallure, with the clock running down, tried to stop the clock and did not do so at the 12-yard line. Had he been able to get rid of the ball 1 second earlier, Ruzek might have had a field goal attempt from in short.
Or even taken the penalty by just snapping the ball and going with it without waiting for his lineman to get down.
1st and 10, Eagle crowd back in it. 6:18 remaining. And Pallure will throw. Left side, Herschel Walker flagged down, Cowboys holding. Again. It's Timmy Newsome who made the catch, holding Dallas. They are operating with a couple of backup guards in there. I don't know if it was one of the guards or not.
Holding. Offense, number 63, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 1st down.
It was. That's Glenn Titensor who replaced Nate Newton. Newton on the bench with an injury.
Now, what you do if you're the Eagles' defensive line, you start running stunts because you recognize that the people in the middle are not as familiar with one another and switching off like you'd like them to have. So you start running stunts with your inside defensive tackles and sending those linebackers on blitzes, cause confusion, and then you get some more sacks.
5:58 to go, 6-point Dallas lead. Play fake by Pallure. He has to scramble. And he's down at the 34-yard line. He gets 9 of the 10 back. He didn't waste any time pulling it in.
He sure didn't. He didn't get any twist up front from the defensive line. What he got was a straight, hard bull rush by all 4 of them. He recognized he had an opportunity because he saw an alley over on the left side, and he took advantage of it to gain about 9 yards on the play.
2nd down, 11. 5:20 to go in the ball game. Watch and see if the Eagles stunt defensively. This time they don't. They blitz. Ballure reads it, goes left side. And the catch is made by Doug Cosby, the tight end, short of the first down at the 41-yard line.
A delayed strong safety blitz in there, and what happens is when they delayed, Ballure recognized it right away and dumped the football off, throwing to a spot. Was able to take advantage of the one-on-one coverage.
3rd and 4. Prevent defense in for the Eagles. Terry Hogue and William Frizzell come in. Kevin Sweeney sends in the signal. Wydell is out. You saw him. 3rd and 4, Dallas, 5:09 to go.
I thought I saw Kevin Sweeney saying this is going to be a screen. Let's see if that's the case.
Watch for Walker. He's caught 4 today. He's to the right side. Kelvin Martin in motion. Flag is down. Delay of game. Again.
Boy, you know what? Now you think about the other thing, too. The Cowboys have burned 2 timeouts already, calling timeouts because they were running out of time on the 30-second clock. So, again, if this thing comes down to the wire, another opportunity lost because you had to call timeouts because of your formations and complications offensively.
Offense, number 16, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 3rd down.
Now, instead of a 3rd and 4, call it a 3rd and 9. And the ball moves back to the 36. 5:07 remaining in the ball game. Again, the Eagles with the prevent defense. Giants come back and nip Atlanta by the same score we have here. Well, we have 23-17 here. Blitz. Ballure up, goes deep left side. Man open, caught. First down, Dallas. Ray Alexander, who has really shined in the last 3 weeks in the absence of Kelvin Edwards and Michael Irvin.
And again, the guy that they're working on is Eric Allen, number 21, the young rookie at the cornerback position. But he's playing about as well as you can without, getting too close on the coverage and picking up the penalty. He's a young guy, and he's learning out there. Every play he's learning. But, hey, you know what? Sometimes you believe in a guy like that. You come back the next year or even sometimes the next game, and the guy starts making picks for you.
I'm going to make a guess, Dan, because we don't have it up in a minute, but I think they've thrown at Eric Allen 13 or 14 times today.
At least.
1st and 10, huge gain by the Cowboys. They buy more time on the clock. Walker up the middle on the draw. Flag down again. In the offensive backfield, might be a holding call.
Yeah, but remember, the Cowboys have been able to be effective in this drive even with penalties.
Holding, Dallas.
Holding. Offense, number 63, takedown. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 1st down.
That's the 2nd in this drive on Glenn Titensor.
Yeah, but you have to wonder, did he have to say takedown? Could he just say holding? Glenn's going, hey, give me a break out here. Get a chance to play. Leave me alone. Don't watch me. Watch somebody else.
Titensor playing in place of the injured Nate Newton, who's out with a neck injury, a sprained neck. Crawford Kerr has come back in the lineup now, and Titensor's being replaced.
Partisan crowd is calling for Philadelphia defense.
Bob White moves at left guard, number 65. Play fake. Ballure settles for the alternate receiver, and he throws it over the head of Herschel Walker. It'll be 2nd and 20. 4:29 to go in the game.
The one thing that impresses you is that Steve Ballure has been getting a lot of time to throw the football now with this great defensive line that the Philadelphia Eagles have, and really the Dallas Cowboys working with a patchwork offensive line. Steve Ballure's got time to sit back there and tip-tap. Looks like he's in one of those old Fred Astaire shows, and then he finally throws the football.
2nd and 20, Dallas. They led 20-0 early in the 2nd quarter. Eagles came back to make it 20-7. It's now 23-17. Ballure, 308 yards and 1 touchdown. He's been intercepted once. The Cowboys have been called for holding 5 times. Ballure, Cosby. He is down at the 47-yard line. That'll leave a 3rd and about 10. William Frizzell makes the tackle here, and the clock keeps winding down.
Well, the interesting thing, too, is the Dallas offense is being fairly patient now. There you expect them maybe to try to go for the whole thing and get the 1st down, but they say, hey, we'll take a little bit now and a little bit later. Now it's 3rd down and about 9. Okay, now you go back again to something that works. Maybe you tight end, maybe Herschel Walker out of the backfield.
3:50 to go in the game. Cowboys up 23-17. Shotgun. Stunts by the defensive line. Pelor drills it for Martin. Kelvin Martin, first down at the 30. A 16-yard gain.
And Kelvin Martin looks like he may have pulled a hamstring. I saw him grabbing it, and it looks like he's going to head out of the ball game because of that. Now, Steve Pelor's got plenty of time to look around, look downfield, and get this ball into Martin. Now he looks over to the left, looks the defenders off, and now comes back to the right to Martin, who makes a great reception on Roynell Young there. And then there, that right just before he went down is when he looked like he pulled that hamstring.
8 catches for Kelvin Martin for 97 yards. Kelvin Edwards in the ball game. He's lined up wide to the left. Everett Gay is wide right. Walker for just a couple, down to the 29. That is the 25th carry for Herschel today.
And I tell you what they've been able to do, that is the Dallas offense, is they've been able to burn up that clock. And they have to now because they don't have any time out. They have 1 timeout left, I believe, in the ball game, so they've got to burn the clock up now.
And Dan, twice on this drive, the Cowboys have overcome 1st and 20. Twice they've overcome holding calls.
Timeout.
And now the Eagles
Your second timeout.
have called timeout. That is their second. They have 1 left.
Second timeout.
So both teams with 1 timeout left. No groin pull for Kelvin Martin. The report from the bench is a cramp in his leg. And the Eagles call timeout. That's Jim Erkenbeck, the offensive line coach. What an interesting 4th quarter. A 99-yard drive by the Eagles, and then the Cowboys come back on the ropes, and they overcome 2 1st and 20s.
And that's really that extra effort that you look for, you know, when you get in the hole, you're able to come back out of it. Now, Erkenbeck's telling his offensive lineman, hey, look, now they may try to run some games on you and run some blitzes. Be prepared for all of that. And just remember, the most important thing is don't let anybody get a cheap play on you. That is escape without you touching them, getting to your quarterback.
Tom Rafferty and Kevin Gogan. There's the old and the new of the Cowboy offense. What a continuum at center for the Dallas Cowboys. Starting back with Dave Manders, who was the center for so many years, then John Fitzgerald, and now Tom Rafferty in his 13th year. And Raff said this week he's probably going to come back and try it again. Hadn't had enough pounding yet. Cunningham looks on, wanting 1 more shot. And 2.5 minutes remaining in this game. Edwards goes to the left side. Everett Gay is wide right. Newsom and Walker in the backfield. 2nd down and 9. Play fake. Hot receiver left side. Tim Newsom, and Andre Waters has him and knocks him out of bounds to conserve the clock. He's out 2 yards short of the 1st down. Pelor had to do a pretty good job of getting rid of the ball.
Yeah, he sure did. And now, what you think about what he's doing, hey, look, you know, he's working that clock down, working them downfield, and at worst, just as long as you don't give the ball away down here, you come out at worst with a field goal.
Cowboys lead it as Pelor has had 342 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception today.
Well, finally, offensively, he's put together the numbers and the score on the board, and that's the important thing, and he's been able to be effective scoring points for the Cowboys.
3rd and 3, Dallas. Play fake. Bootleg, pulls up, and just throws it away. A flag is down. Clyde Simmons roughing the passer. I think intentional grounding. Is that the call?
There was no receiver around the football.
That may be the call. Pelor went down under Simmons. Here's Dick Antak.
Intentional grounding on the offense, number 16. It is a loss of down at the spot. 1st down.
The biggest problem Steve Pelor has had this year has been a series of mental mistakes late in ball games. Passes intercepted in Pittsburgh. Pass intercepted in the New York game. And now intentional grounding and loss of down. And will they bring Ruzek out? No, they will not, because it would be a 52-yard field goal, and they're not going to try it.
Well,
Landry's going to go with his defense and have Saxon try and pooch kick it inside the 10-yard line. This would have been a 52-yard field goal, so the Eagles will get it back with 2 minutes to go. Fourth and 15. And the Cowboys will take a deliberate delay of game call to allow Saxon 5 more yards.
Well, what they try to do is when you saw them with that shifting on the line, they're trying to draw Philadelphia offsides. That doesn't work. So, okay, we'll take the 5-yard penalty. That gives Saxon an opportunity to kick it a little bit further and maybe pooch it in, like you said.
Delay on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down. They send it.
Eagles have 1 timeout left. They just put together a 99-yard drive that took only 304 rather, and they will get it back, barring a turnover. Konechny waits for it at the 10. Taken by Konechny at the 10 and dragged down from behind at the 16-yard line. So with 2:11 to go in the ball game, Garth Jacks makes the tackle. Randall Cunningham leads the Eagles out. They need a touchdown and an extra point to get the lead for the first time today.
And you can believe when you're inside these huddles now, you know that this is it. You line up and you say, hey, look, this is a real special feeling one time or another during a football game. This is when you feel it because you say, hey, now we can do it offensively or defensively. You're saying, hey, look, we stop them here. We go home happy Cowboys.
The Eagles need 85 yards. 1st and 10 from the shotgun. Cunningham goes right for Carter, incomplete. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Looks like it might be against Philadelphia.
They round up the usual suspects.
Dallas with the option. Do they want the 2nd down? Take the play?
I think they want to push Philadelphia back to that goal line if they possibly can.
There's Ted Plum, the offensive coordinator, looking on.
Tripping, offense, number 73, penalized half the distance to the goal line. Still 1st down.
That is Ron Heller, the right tackle. And the ball back at the 7-yard line. Still time for at least 1 more play before the 2-minute warning. Garrity comes left. Chris Carter goes right. And Jackson is in the slot to the right-hand side. Prevent defense in for Dallas. 3-man rush. Cunningham and Anthony Toney. And he is going to be dragged down as he gets to the 16-yard line, back near the original line of scrimmage. That will be the final play before the 2-minute warning. Eagles have a 2nd down and 9 at the 2-minute spot, and they've got 1 timeout left.
.177 horses give Comanche so much power, but it's the name Jeep that gives it so much pull.
Save up to $1,700 on select 1989 Jeep Comanches.
This is not the time to learn that all antifreezes aren't the same. What's in your radiator?
Come on, answer.
Extra Strength Alka-Seltzer has more of what you take Alka-Seltzer for. More medicine. More bubbles. For fast relief of heartburn with a headache. Try
Extra Strength Alka-Seltzer. More of what you take Alka-Seltzer for.
It's the right shot at the right time. Where the top score is the bottom line. It's a new game. It's another round. The silver bullet won't slow you down. So come on, it's a Coors Light. It's the right beer now. To the good life, yeah. Good life, yeah. So come on, it's a Coors Light. It's the right beer now.
23-17 Dallas, 1:59 to go. Eagles with a 2nd down and 8 and 1 timeout left. Tom Landry's team trying to go 3-5 and avoid the worst start in 25 years for the Cowboys. Buddy Ryan's team trying to stay one game back of the division leaders and to defeat Dallas for the second time in succession for the first time in 21 years. 2nd and 8. Cunningham, 20 of 40 for 229. Right side again. Keith Jackson drops it. And Everson Walls covering Jackson. It'll be 3rd and 8. Randall Cunningham wanting his tight end, Jimmy Giles.
He was calling for Giles, and that's what he's getting. Jimmy Giles is coming into the football game. He knows that Jimmy Giles is a money-type receiver, experienced guy. This kind of situation, you want your older fellows in the game, and that's what he got.
But surprisingly, I thought, and Jackson is out. Jackson comes out, Giles is in. 3rd and 8, Eagles. 4-man rush, Cunningham pulls up and drills it. Knocked away, Manny Hendricks, and there are no flags.
Well, I tell you what, the Dallas secondary has been on Chris Carter today. He has not gotten a break. Every time they try to go to him, somebody is on him, batting away the ball, getting in his vision. He has just had a bad day against Dallas. He has not been able to catch a pass effectively and get in there when he really wants it.
4th and 8, and the Eagles will go for it.
He's caught one pass for 12 yards today. They've thrown at least 10 his way.
Garrity comes left, Carter right. 4th and 8, Philadelphia. Right side, 1st down, Eagles. At the 26, Jimmy Giles comes in and makes the grab.
Stop pattern, he gets the 1st down, gets the ball, and goes down to the ground. Understands what the 2-minute drill is all about.
He's the man that Cunningham wanted in the lineup, and Grandal drops back and intentionally stops the clock with 90 seconds to go. Isn't that fascinating? Looks at the bench, and I want Giles in here. He comes in, doesn't use him on the 3rd down play, but on 4th down, boom.
He goes to the guy that he knows is a go-to guy, tough situation. Hey, give me a guy in here that really understands what this deal is all about and how to get open. That's the key. Get the escape off the line of scrimmage and get open.
Garrity comes left. Ernie Stautner is the man who calls the defensive signals. 2nd down and 10, Philadelphia. 1:30 remaining in the ball game. The Eagles still have a timeout left. Cunningham deep left side. Garrity, does he keep possession? I think he did. Yes. What a catch by the possession receiver, Greg Garrity.
And he is down on the turf.
And this is a call. It's got to be a call timeout in the final 2 minutes. An injury in the final 2 minutes to Greg Garrity.
Philadelphia, their 3rd time.
Well, I tell you what, on the crossing pattern, Randall Cunningham has all kinds of time. No pressure. Sits back and finds Garrity on the break. Now, this ball is delivered beautifully, and Garrity makes a great catch on the play. He's airborne when he makes it, and he comes down on that hard AstroTurf on his knee.
Caught it right in front of Robert Williams, the 2nd-year man, and Greg Garrity still not up. So the Eagles drive 99 yards time before this one, and now they overcome a 4th and 8, and they've got the ball at their own 48-yard line. No timeouts left.
And these guys, the Eagles, don't allow you to go to sleep at the switch. They keep you busy.
If in the back of your mind you're thinking turnover for Dallas, the Cowboys in the 4th quarter through 7 games have obtained just 1 takeaway in the 4th quarter. That was a fumble recovery. They have yet to intercept a pass in the 4th quarter this year.
And when you look at turnovers in general, that's been the thing that they've had, been very desirous of getting this season, but it's really avoided. And as we said earlier, Ernie Stautner said, hey, look, the ball's just not bouncing our way for some reason or another. Now, if you come up with a turnover here in this situation, this is a big play that closes down the game for you. And I'm sure that's what Tom Landry's thinking. Hey, look, somebody just stop and get the turnover, whatever it is, fumble, interception, whatever you can do.
This one's not over, but we've got an interesting night coming up for you tonight on CBS. We begin with 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the highly acclaimed wrap-up to the CBS Sunday movie Part 2, Jack the Ripper, starring Michael Caine, Jane Seymour, and Armand Assante. That's tonight. Right now, 1st and 10 Eagles, and they've got the ball at their own 47-yard line. Cunningham dances left, pulls up, and will run out of bounds at the Cowboy 47-yard line, stopping the clock with still 69 seconds left.
He's been extremely good. Randall Cunningham has it, using the clock and taking advantage of opportunities there. You know, he got as much as he could out of the play, and then he headed out of bounds to save his clock. Now, the thing that causes is now that puts those defensive backs in a sweat, because they say, hey, look, if I give good coverage downfield, he can still run for the first down, and if you don't watch out, he'll take it the distance on you.
Ball, this drive started at the 15. The Eagles overcame a 4th and 8. They've got a 2nd down and 5 right now at the Cowboys' 48-yard line. Looks deep and fires deep. Ron Johnson at the 28-yard line. He just came in for the injured Greg Garrity. 20-yard gain. Randy White hurries on the field. And the clock is stopped with 49 seconds to go. Ron Johnson, number 85.
Now he's working against Williams here. He escapes him. Now he's released downfield, and there you see, I believe that's Francis playing him in the middle, and it's a zone, and Billy Bates has to come up and make the stop. Nobody really settled on him as a receiver.
From the 29, 2nd and 10. 49 seconds to go. Starts by the defensive line. Cunningham deep for Johnson. Overthrown. 3rd and 10.
Hey, this sellout crowd got what the money's worth today out of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, that's for sure. This has been one that swung back and forth emotionally, as well as with the, when you think about really what everybody's been doing and how effective they've been from quarter to quarter, it's kind of gone back and forth. And now Philadelphia's been able to go on a nice sustained drive here. And if they get this touchdown.
Jackson stays on the bench. Giles still in the tight end. He's split to the right. 3rd and 10. Cunningham right side, tipped and incomplete. Flag down.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 26. First down.
Michael Downs.
It was double coverage over there with both Burton and Downs on Jimmy Giles. And apparently Michael Downs reached in. He's number 26. We're watching right down at the bottom of your screen. He comes in, slaps the ball away, but really he wasn't the guy that was on him. I don't know where that call came from.
If there was a call, it had to be Everson Walls, but that's a big hit. First down. Cunningham, right corner for Giles. Incomplete. 34 seconds left. Boy, you go back at that. If they called that on Downs, and that was the number that was announced.
Yeah, I think the official just made a mistake. He really wanted to call it on Everson Walls. Just got the numbers mixed up.
Ball at the 20, 2nd and 10, 34 seconds remaining. Giles is out. Keith Jackson comes back in.
No timeouts left for the Eagles.
34 seconds remaining. They need a touchdown and an extra point for the win. Cunningham might be changing the play. Now Myers comes into the backfield.
He's looking at that blitz right up the middle. It's off.
Half roll right side. Coney gets out of bounds, kills the clock at the 15-yard line. 30 seconds to go. Tackle made by Ron Burton.
Now, one of the things let's look for this with the Eagles. They spread out the defense of Dallas and maybe put Byers up in that slot and try to run him towards the sideline, flooding the other area of the field. Let's see if they do that. They run out, they spread him out wide. If they do, you know what the play is.
All right, Byers comes to the left side with Ron Johnson. Jackson and Carter go right, 3rd and 5. Cowboys threaten the blitz. They're not blitzing. Cunningham, left side. Johnson overthrown. 4th down.
This is it. It all comes down to money now.
Greg Garrity hobbles back into the lineup for the Eagles. He made a huge catch. You're looking at Ernie Stautner. Byers comes out. The Cowboys take Randy White and Danny Noonan out of the lineup. And Here comes Philadelphia, trailing by 6. 4th and 5 from the 15. Cunningham left side, man open, dragged down at the 1-yard line. The clock shows 17 seconds and running. 1st and goal from the 2.
Now you just stop the clock, you throw the ball out of bounds so you can run the ball.
Flag is down, clock is stopped with 8 seconds to go.
Offside on the defense. We have illegal motion on the offense. Penalties are offset. 1st down.
Now you can take your time if you're on the defensive side of the ball getting back across the line of scrimmage, but you got to make sure that you get back over there before the ball snaps.
1st and goal from the 8. From the 2, 8 seconds to go. They possibly have time for 2 plays. Timeout, Dallas. That's their last.
Timeout, Dallas. Their 3rd timeout.
Now, do you defend run or pass?
I think you defend pass down here because what Philadelphia likes to do down here is, like we said, run that little flood pattern and then come back to the running back up underneath. It's something that, you watch their film and whatnot, you see what they do down on that goal line. Perfect opportunity for Randall Cunningham to take advantage of that here, particularly if you can break him out and get him open late.
Twice in this drive, the Eagles have overcome 4th down. A 4th and 8 and a 4th and 5. Now they've got time for at least 1, possibly 2 more plays.
It was offset.
Here's that play to Greg Garrity. See Randall Cunningham, he drops back, finds Garrity. Garrity makes a great reception on the play. Big play there, money man.
Back to live action, 8 seconds to go. Shotgun. Cunningham with a half roll, lobs it, caught, touchdown! Anthony Toney! This has been an 85-yard drive, and twice in this drive, The Philadelphia Eagles overcame 4th and long. A 4th and 8 at their own 17, and a 4th and 5 at the Cowboy 20. And Anthony Toney gets the touchdown with 4 seconds to go. Zendejas for the extra point.
And the Philadelphia Eagles have come of age in this football game. Randall Cunningham has really come of age in this football game, proving to himself and everyone else that they're ready to go up to the next level in the National Football League.
Now, just in the back of your minds, recall the sequence of plays at the end of the first half when the Cowboys had the ball at the Eagle 12-yard line, could not stop the clock to get Ruzek on for a field goal. How big those little things become. 4 seconds to go. Mark Higgs is one of those deep to return the kick. This is Bob White with the ball, and the game is over. I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Veterans Stadium. CBS Sports coverage of the NFL has been a presentation of CBS Sports. Back with the NFL Today postgame show after these messages.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filter one.
Can you draft anyone?
Time. Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
Sometimes you got it today. Emerson's got it right. Fine tune it, fine tune your life. Nobody's gotta tell you. Emerson does it right. Fine tune it, fine tune it, fine tune your life.
Fine tune your life with Emerson.
Behind every single flight one of these makes stand the 60,000 professionals of United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
Computerized voting, the wave of the future. It's fast and easy, but can we trust the results?
Could you put the fix in a national election? You only need bribe one person. One person.
The story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
The NFL Today post-game show is sponsored by Miller Lite, official sponsor of the Miller Lite NFL Lineman of the Year Award. Once again, Brent Musburger.
Oh, what a finish. Mr. Cross, take a bow. But I'll tell you who did it for you. Hey, let's go out live to the event. Vern Lundquist with Randall Cunningham. Take it away, Vern.
Okay, Brent. Randall Cunningham has joined us live. Vern Lundquist and Dan Jiggets. Randall, that was extraordinary.
Tell you what, we went out there and, you know, we've been down quite a few games, and we've had the opportunity to come back. And, you know, when you're down, it's hard. But our team, we don't give up. You know, we've got a lot of guys who are young, and we've got guys on the front line. They start off a little bit slow, but they come together, and it's great to win against the Cowboys.
But, Randall, I see this as the Philadelphia Eagles coming of age and you coming of age when you make that kind of an effort at the end of a ball game like this.
I tell you what, at the end of the ball game, I love controlling the game by myself, and the coach let me control the game by myself, all 3 touchdowns that we had scored. And it's just great when we have the opportunity to go down there and put the ball in the end zone, and coach has great enough confidence in his quarterback who's only 25 years old.
There's a pretty good example of how you control the game that Dan and I noticed. You had a 4th down, and you looked at the bench on 3rd down, and you wanted Jimmy Giles in the ball game. What was that all about?
Well, you know, Keith Jackson is my main target. I didn't think he was that hot today. Of course, he'll come back next week. But I gave him a few chances, and it was a crucial situation, and I went to him on 3rd down. I said, he dropped the ball, so I went with Giles. Giles, the old vet, he's going to come to you under pressure, so I went with him, and we brought Keith Jackson back in.
And how about the play of Greg Garrity on the 4th down?
Oh, boy, Greg's just an exciting guy. you know, he's always been with me, and we've made some comeback wins against St. Louis and against Washington last year. And Greg's just a guy who's always going to be there for you. And I asked him, could he run a route? And he said he really didn't know, so I ran the route to him anyway, having that confidence in him.
Well, we started by saying this was extraordinary. We'll end it by saying the same thing. That was really something, Randall.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you very much. For Dan Jiggins, Vern Lundquist, let's go back to the studio. Brent Musburger.